Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
Smoking weed, Sam?
I don't really like weed.
Do you like cigars?
I like alcohol and I like coffee.
Huh.
I'm not a big cigar guy.
Do you want alcohol?
I'll have it maybe in like second half of the show.
Second half of the show.
I like to feel
Let's
the caffeine.
Prepare glasses with ice for the second half of the show when things start getting a little sideways.
Yeah.
So what's happening, brother? How you doing?
Great. I've been on the road just going pretty hard with this hour, and I love it.
Yeah.
I still romanticize the road. I still love it. And I did theaters last year for the first time ever, just a theater run. So that now I'm back in clubs to just tighten it. But I love it, man.
Yeah, clubs are the best. It's the best experience. The arenas are pretty nice. They're fun. In the round, they're really fun.
They look fun.
Theaters are fun, but it's slightly removed from a club. Club is better than a theater.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, theaters, I forgot how intimate clubs were just doing theaters.
Yeah.
Last year and being like, oh shit, I can see when a dude's frowning. I can see one person having a bad time now. So that I forgot about that. But there was a guy in Dallas over the weekend who just kept doing this to me, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I was like, oh, your girlfriend's a fan. He's not. He doesn't like me. His girl. He was just a drunk.
Oh wow!
And I peeled out of him. He was drunk on rum too, which is the fun. To me, it's like funny.
That's a Jimmy Buffett drunk.
It's just not. You don't see a lot of white dudes with goatees who are rum drunk. So I was like, oh, all right.
He's
but
eccentric.
Yeah, he was a bad drunk, but she was cool as hell.
Well, sometimes guys have a real hard time with their girlfriend being a fan of a guy.
I feel like most of the people that like me are dudes, but
me too.
When I see women out there, I'm like, great.
Yeah.
I'm happy. When I see
ladies.
a tabletop of four, I'm like, fuck yes.
Yeah. Whenever a lady asks me, "Are you Joe Rogan?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "I'm a fan of your podcast." I'm always like, "That's crazy." Thank you.
I mean, I'm sure you have a lot of female fans. It's a big pod.
It's the number 2 female podcast.
What's number 1?
True crime.
That makes sense.
Like one of them true crime shows.
Women love true crime.
Yeah. So women do listen to it.
Yeah.
But it's I'm a guy. And I'm probably annoying. I
don't
get
think
it.
You're annoying.
I get it. Like if you're a woman and you don't. I mean, this is a bro-heavy show. Like when we do Protect Our Parks or when we do a Fight Companion or.
The fights are definitely for bros.
Yeah, and then when I have fighters on, unless it's female fighters, I've had a bunch of female fighters on too. Female fighters are probably my best example that I point to when people think that something horrible about fighting, that it's like brutality and it's wrong and it's barbaric. And I'll point them to some female fighters. I'm like, just listen to this woman talk. Like, listen to Rose Namajunas talk about fighting. And, like, listen to her post-fight speeches when she's telling everybody that we just have to be nicer to each other.
It is pretty cool to be almost like Buddhist and a fighter.
She's an amazing human, very unusual human being. Elite world-class fighter, world champion multiple times, and like one of the sweetest, nicest people alive. She's so nice to her opponents after fights.
I don't know a lot about fighting. A lot of it I've learned from hearing you talk and stuff. But I remember watching a fight with like Luis Gomez and Dave Smith once, and they knew so much about it that that's how you get me into it, like backstory and stuff.
Yeah,
like I'm an insane NBA fan. I love sports, but yeah, I mean the camaraderie in that stuff to me is like what interests me. Also, is like growing up as a '90s basketball fan, these guys fucking hated each other. Like, wanted to fight. Like Oakley, Rodman, they were like down to fight you and mind games and shit. And now they all play AAU ball together, so they're all buddies. And so part of it's kind of lost a little. It's weird. Like the camaraderie is beautiful, and it's not. And now the trades are so often that like you're gonna end up on this dude's team at some point anyway.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's probably the best players can figure out how to always play as a team while playing their best.
If your ego allows you to.
Yeah, that's
some
the
people
thing
are
about,
stubborn.
Like I'm definitely no basketball expert, but when I watch like high performing athletics, it's in a team sports environment. It's always this dance between what is the best thing to do to score versus what do I want to do.
Right.
What do I want to do since I have the ball?
What's
do I
best
want
for
to
the
try
team?
to show off? Do I want to try to pull off something wild, or do I pass? Like what do I do? And then people get upset when you don't make, the latter, when you don't pass enough, right? That's like a big one.
Yeah, if you slow down, like, I mean, think about it. If you want to simplify it to like kids playing in the park, if you're playing your ass off on D and you have one dude just like ISO dribbling the whole time on offense, you're like, you're wasting our energy. You're being a dick. I don't like that. So yeah, I think
There's always going to be guys like that just want the ball.
But you have to know who you are. I mean, it's like anything else. Like, if you know what's funny about you, you'll be a better comic, right? If you know what your purpose is as a basketball player, I'm a defender. I'm a three-point specialist. Knowing who you are is all of it, really, you know?
Is one of the classic fumbles of all time is a guy who talks shit while playing basketball and then gets his ass kicked.
Yeah, but it's so satisfying.
It's the worst thing ever.
When I see people shit-talking like Steph Curry, I'm like, you know how this ends. It's like shit-talking Jack Reacher. You're going to fucking lose.
So ridiculous.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? People are so delusional. Like, the difference between a world-class athlete and the average person is such a gap. But then again, there's some people out there that just genetic freaks. And, you know, they probably, you know, are young and super cocky, and they might be elite someday, and they think they are right now.
Right.
You know, it's just like, that's just a part of like being a male, you know, involved in competitive sports. They're all just going after each other, whether it's with basketball or football or especially with fighting.
On the professional level, it can be cool, but when you play with your friends in the park and you have that one guy with the anger problems, and you're like, I had a friend who used to yell at people. I'm like, dude, that guy's homeless. You got to stop yelling at a homeless guy.
I had a friend who used to do that at the comedian softball game. Him and this other dude who's also my friend, they would scream in each other's faces. Screaming like two gorillas, just screaming in each other's faces. It was so ridiculous.
Some people need that to get them amped up. Like
game,
Michael Jordan would create shit. He would create reasons to be mad at. Like, there's this famous story about MJ where a guy was like, he had a career night against Michael Jordan, a career night, 39 points or something. MJ had an off night, and at the end of the game, he was like, "Good game," to Michael Jordan. And Jordan was like, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking kill him." Like, he said it like in his head sarcastically. So the next time they play, Jordan annihilates him, like humiliates him. And then it later came out, the guy's like, I never said that. I didn't say shit to Mike. But Jordan is so crazy, he needs fuel to just be like, you wronged me in some way, and that's how I'll
Right, he probably put it in his head that the guy did said that.
Totally.
Say that. Yeah.
But that's like psychotic.
But that's how you get to be Michael Jordan.
Sure.
When you're the elite of the elite, that's just such a special mindset. To be able to be that good at anything, whether it's Tiger Woods at golf or Michael Jordan at basketball or Mike Tyson at fighting, to get that good at anything, man, that is so rare. It requires so much insane focus on one goal, and you're competing with thousands and thousands of other elite athletes that also have their eye on this one goal.
Well, Tiger Woods is a great example of, like, it's almost like, you know, you're a kid and you learn a language at like 2 years old, and you're like, well, that kid speaks Spanish now. It was easy for him. That's what Tiger's dad did to him with golf. It's like, oh, you just know that this is what it takes, with golf, and then of course you need to fuck 40,000 women. You have to. After that childhood,
you look like Tiger Woods.
Exactly. And I mean, Jesus Christ, let him have it.
Yeah, the whole thing's ridiculous. But also, it's like, you see in that guy the difference between what elite athleticism applied to golf he got banged up.
Yeah.
Well, you don't hear about that many golfers that go through so many surgeries. I know he had the one surgery for his leg, but a bunch of it's back stuff, right?
Yeah.
And you got to think that fucking torque that guy puts in that club. Like, how many times can you do that before your back just goes, fuck you?
Yeah.
You know, the way that guy hits a ball.
And he's one of those dudes where you're like, growing up, I'd be like, oh, you could be a fat golfer. And then you see, no, your body will probably break down. Tiger's fucking ripped.
Yeah, he's jacked. Show me a video of him hitting like a long drive.
Oh, I was going to show you this, which is it's almost more impressive. His ability to stop mid-swing.
Who's shooting? Is this Rear Window? Who's shooting this right here?
Well, this is like on-field stuff. Actually.
Oh, jeez.
But it's really,
Why did he stop mid-swing?
because either someone made a noise or something just distracted him. But like, you're already going and you're so torqued up by the time you're in the back there, to stop it takes a lot. It's just like a mental fortitude, and then also to be able to stop without fucking up.
But it is kind of funny the abuse other athletes take compared to golfers.
Like this was probably
Like
bird.
if you're playing
physical
football,
abuse, yeah.
No, I mean verbal from an audience. Like,
Oh, right,
I mean,
right.
if you're playing, I used to do a podcast with Julian Edelman, who's a Super Bowl champ with the Patriots 3 times. Great guy, but he would tell me, yeah, they would throw dildos at me on the field in Buffalo because they hated me. Now in golf, they're like quiet, and like you can't take any noise.
Yeah, there's no noise.
It's a different focus.
But there is that one tournament that they do where it's a giant crowd. Have
They
you
just
seen
had
that one?
That
Which one
problem
is-
with that this weekend.
What
They
was
did it
that?
this week. They had a problem?
Yeah.
What happened?
They let in too many people and they stopped selling alcohol at like 1 in the afternoon. 'Cause
Oh,
people were getting
no.
so fucked up.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, I don't. No
Oh,
one like.
no.
No one got hurt or anything.
Can you
like
show
that.
a video? Well, I want to see a video of him hitting the ball first, but then I want to show Sam the video of this golf tournament. I mean, the dude, the way his whole body like swings that club, there's so much force.
There's a hole in one.
Look at that.
Also, to see that emotion, damn.
Mm-hmm. And the years of practice, like how many times has he swung a club?
I should say I know nothing about golf, but like he's a dude. If he's playing, you're like, yeah, it's fucking cool to watch Tiger Woods.
Yeah, it's cool to watch. How does he play, Jamie, since he broke his leg?
He has played okay. Like he came, well, since he broke his leg, he hasn't played that many rounds really.
Apparently, he had a terrible leg break, like really bad.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Is his son going to be good?
Ooh.
His son is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. His son's out driving him now, which I don't know what that means really. I mean, but like that's really good.
That's power at a young age.
That's insane.
This is that crazy hole, the 16th at the Waste Management
So look at this.
Phoenix Open.
Look at the crowd. There's like a gigantic crowd, and they're loud. People are loud.
Wow.
They make it like a big stadium.
Look at that.
This is pretty cool.
I mean, listen to that cheer for golf.
And some of the players like encourage it on this hole, you know.
Oh my God, they're so loud. Oh shit.
Holy shit.
Oh shit.
And everybody goes
See,
crazy.
that is so much more impressive to do that in front of a crowd.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, there's something kind of fucking cool about that.
You have to shut out the world. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a talent too.
For sure. For sure. Especially in something that's so touch oriented. Like, you know, you're concentrating on how many revolutions you're going to put on a ball on grass.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there's so much touch to it that any little you're fucked.
Yeah, golf and tennis. I've never been to either, and tennis when it's on TV, it's one of those where I'm like, man, the shape you've got to be in.
This was the crowd when this was the last time he
This
won a
is
big event.
so insane. Look at this crowd.
They
Yeah,
just
this
started
is
chasing
stressful.
him down Augusta.
Look how many people that is.
And he's got to keep it together. I think he had pretty much had it like wrapped up by now, but you still have to make the last 2 shots. You can easily fuck those up.
Dude, there's so many people. That's so ridiculous.
What do you think of his dad? I mean, it is a weird way to raise a child.
I'm not really familiar with exactly what happened.
Well, his dad just turned him into Tiger Woods. I mean, this is like, it's almost like a superhero origin story. I mean, you don't have if you become this, you don't have a good childhood.
Yeah, and you probably also didn't have a choice.
No way.
Yeah, but that's the question. I mean,
Is it different than being
didn't
a
it
stage
benefit-
mom?
It's a good question. It's a good question. Like, how much is too much, right?
I mean, look at this. This is kind of dark.
I'm at 2 years old.
He's 2. He has a golf club, and he's 2.
I mean,
Bro, that's
he did
insane.
good,
The
but-
doc is incredible.
insane.
It's on HBO, I think. It's incredible.
His form is immaculate at
Yeah.
2. Wow.
But that's a lot of hours. Like, Daddy, please let me watch cartoons. And he's like, fuck you. You're going to work on your swing. I mean, that's
Yeah.
kind of sad.
There's a little bit of that for sure. Yeah, you would like someone to just gravitate towards something.
Yeah.
And then you encourage them as far as they want to go with it.
I think about it in sports a lot, too, where a guy like LeBron, who came from absolutely nothing and became LeBron, he's got a son now who, first of all, being LeBron's son can't be easy, right?
It's got to be hard.
A lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure.
And he's a good player. It looks like he's going to make the NBA, but, like, you're not going to be LeBron. Also, it's like, okay, you have every advantage. You grew up in an incredible home. You have trainers around the clock versus a guy who's, like, hungry as hell.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an interesting study if you had two guys with those talents, and it's like almost like a fucking trading places type thing. Maybe I'm thinking like you put them. Okay, which is better?
The hungry guy.
I agree.
Hungry guy with good genetics wins every time.
Yeah, because he needs it.
Yeah, it's a different mindset. So it's got to be very difficult to engage in something like combat sports or pro football. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's got to be very difficult to do that if you come from a really comfortable environment.
Yeah.
You know, because you're just not going to have that certain level of anger necessary to get the job done.
And then in a combat sport, as you said, you need to shut that anger off at some point. And that's got it. Same with football. That's a violent game, man. Watching the Super Bowl, how many people on the 49ers, I was like, this is like fucking war.
Yeah.
The people were just carried off on stretchers. It felt like I was watching MASH, you know? It was like, it was rough.
You don't see a lot of rich people's sons going into that line of work.
Well, Bill Laimbeer on the Bad Boy Pistons came from privilege, but then Isaiah Thomas, he's their general, and he came from the worst fucking part of Chicago.
Yeah.
But that's kind of an interesting blend, you know?
Yeah, it kind of is. I mean, I could see how they could compete in some sports, but in combat sports, like, the people that come from nothing have like an extra gear. They just have an extra gear.
What about
like
a guy like Kimbo Slice, though, who's like really from nothing?
Mm-hmm. Well, also just talented boxer. Kimbo Slice was he had very good hands.
Yeah.
Like if you watch those videos of him out in the back parking areas where they would fight on like parking lots and backyards and like dodging satellite dishes and shit. You ever see those videos?
I've seen some of his stuff. He's terrifying.
He's a good boxer, and he was boxing people that were not good boxers.
Right.
They just did not know how. You know, they were tough guys, but they weren't at his level. And he would just have these bare-knuckle backyard fights.
Yeah.
And the nicest fucking guy, too.
Yeah.
That's the thing about Kimbo. Rest in peace. He was the nicest guy. Like, super sweet guy. Like, very friendly to everybody. Took pictures with everybody. He's like, not like a thug.
Yeah.
Just really tough guy. And so tough that he even entered into The Ultimate Fighter. Like, he really didn't have a backyard. He really didn't have a background, rather, in grappling. He wasn't really a grappler.
And
So
now
he
you
had to
kind of
learn
need
all
that, right?
Oh,
I mean,
you had to,
yeah.
He got beat up by Big Country, Roy Nelson. Just took him down and got on top of him. Just kept punching him in the head. He couldn't do anything about it. He put him in a crucifix and just didn't know how to grapple, which is like so unfair. Like if bare knuckle boxing was around like it is now, and Kimbo was around, Kimbo would have been one of the best at bare knuckle boxing. He would have been because that was like really where his skill set was with his hands and his toughness. He really wasn't a kicker. He really wasn't a grappler. He had to learn all that stuff. That didn't come natural to him.
I mean, it's really like just being around at the right time. If you're just a boxer versus now, it's like being a silent film star, and then now they're talking.
Right.
Now they're kicking.
Yeah, they're doing
now they're
everything
grappling.
Now
You
they're
have to
doing
adapt.
everything. But those fights that he was having weren't like. They were just backyard fights. They weren't organized in the sense of there was no like, athletic commission involved or anything like that. So once he started fighting, like he wanted to fight in like the UFC. He fought for a while in Elite XC, and he fought some good fighters over there, and then came over to the UFC and did the Ultimate Fighter. Just like a very ballsy thing to do.
Yeah.
To try to learn grappling. And fight in front of the world.
Yeah.
Because really, it did not have that much grappling. And that's such a giant disadvantage amongst, like, those giant dudes in his division. These guys are so big. These guys are just taking each other down and beating the shit out of you.
Well, it's like that guy who boxed against Jake Paul, one of the first guys who was a wrestler. The guy was a really good wrestler.
Ben Askren?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a different thing.
Well, yeah, I think Ben just took a payday. I think he just gave it a go for the money.
Yeah.
Let's see. He's an amazing wrestler, but he's not really known for being a striker.
That must be so fucking annoying to be amazing at one thing and then you have to do another thing that you suck at.
With some guys pick it up really quick. There's some athletes, for whatever reason, they're just really good at learning new skills, like really good at learning how to kick, really good at learning how to punch. Some wrestlers like Bo Nickel picked it up really quick. Like in a couple of years, he looked really good on his feet. like dangerous. But then there's some that, for whatever reason, like maybe their style of grappling was more controlled based and less dynamic and not as explosive and like changing from move to move. Because some guys just have like a slow pressure wrestling game, and those guys just can never get the punches flowing. Everything's just all bunched up, you know? They're just so used to like grabbing and squeezing things that the idea of being like loose and punching, it doesn't make sense to them.
Yeah.
It doesn't work with their body.
You have to retrain your body.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird. When I see a guy lunging, I'm like, oh, it's like when you see a baseball player like reaching, and you're like, that's not how you, not that I know how to fucking throw a punch, but you know.
It's a dangerous game to not be good at. It's the most dangerous game to not be good at.
Yeah.
If you want to learn how to do it, you got to really, before you start competing, you better really know how to do everything. At this stage of the game, there's just too many people that can shut down one aspect of your game. You know, if you don't have a ground game, they're going to figure you out and they're going to take you down. They're stronger than you.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a stand-up game, they're going to keep it in the feet and beat the shit out of you. They're going to figure it out. Like, you can't have any holes in your game at all. You got to be like Mighty Mouse.
Yeah, you can't be one-dimensional.
Yeah. You got to be able to do everything.
It's like comedy now. You got to do everything.
Yeah.
You can't just do stand-up. You can't just podcast. You can't, just try to do movies. You really have to do other shit.
You probably should, just so you don't want to be confined to one thing that you do if you have options. It's just more fun to do different stuff. It's more fun to do extra stuff.
It's good to challenge yourself too.
Yeah. It's just fun. It just makes it more interesting to do different things.
I mean, it's like walking a different route home every day. Mm-hmm. Okay, I've walked this way home. Let's see what this route does for me. It's just better for your brain, I think.
It's definitely better for your brain. I think it's just, as a comic, like, you could just get too locked into just doing stand-up all the time.
Yeah.
That could kind of fuck your
I'm
head
realizing I do it too much, and I'm like, in terms of the road, and it burns you out. You run out of shit to talk about.
Yeah.
Because it's been, you work so hard to get to a place where you're always working, and then you get there and you're like, oh, I got to live a life.
Yeah.
I have to have shit to talk about.
Otherwise, you start faking it.
Yeah.
You start faking what you're interested in. You start pretending. You start talking about like things you think they'll be interested in.
Yeah.
You don't know what the fuck is going on in the world anymore. You've just been doing hotel to hotel, club to club.
Yeah.
Kind of losing your mind.
I ran into Chris Rock on the street once, and I told him, I was like, I finally took like my first vacation ever. And he goes, oh, man, good for you. He's like, got to take a vacation. Even LeBron has an off season. Wise words.
Very wise words.
I mean,
it's smart.
You burn yourself out. Anyone when you reach that level of a guy like Chris Rock, they just know what it takes. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, you don't burn yourself out. I mean, he's got a different, he's like, I'll do a movie in this time to not burn out. He's got, a different career, but, he's got wisdom.
Yeah, and that's also another very cool thing, that you could still do something creatively that's different than that. You can direct something if you wanted to.
I want to do other stuff. Stand-up's always number one, and I think, thank God for stand-up, because sometimes I'm trying to make a show now, and the amount of fucking emails back and forth, the amount of like meetings, this, that.
So much work.
And I'm like, man, if this was all I had, I'd fucking put a bullet in my head. Honestly, I really would. Because the amount of people, they're like, oh, they're on vacation. There's a Jewish holiday. I'm like, I'm Jewish. I've never heard of that holiday. That's not a holiday. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. And then then we got MLK Day. Then you shut down for Valentine's Day.
Oh my God.
There's always something.
That's hilarious.
So thank God for stand up. It's like it's always there.
Yeah. Just like, what a fucking weird time it is today. What a weird time it is to tell jokes.
It just in the culture right now.
Yeah, it's just such a strange fucking time. It's a strange time to be doing stand up.
It's always a strange time to be. I mean, I think during the Crusades it was weird to be funny. I think it's always a weird time.
So dangerous.
I think it's always a bad time to be. But man, is it? People really need it right now. It's great. I love it. I love that cities will surprise you. That's my favorite thing. Like, I never go in. Look, I've gone in judging a city because I've had a bad time there, and I'm like, let's give it another shot. But I never prejudge. Like, and then you find like little golden nuggets. Like, I was at the Omaha Funny Bone a couple weeks ago. I fucking love that club. There's
a lot of great clubs in this country.
So many great clubs, and the repetition is necessary. That's the fucking beauty of this still is like, I think I've cracked a story and then I'm like, oh, that wasn't the ending. You just find it out on stage sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
So,
and you tighten things up sometimes. You just like take a chunk out and they're like, oh, this is way better this way. You know,
yeah, sometimes your
just-
ego keeps a chunk in and you're like, this is for me. And you realize like, that's also, we're the only type of entertainment where like the crowd is really part of the editing process. Scorsese's not, you know, workshopping his shit in Omaha. You know, like we're taking our shit all over the
Exactly.
country to make sure this works.
Yeah, exactly. It's really interesting that way. Like music is not made that way.
No.
It's really the only art form that's made that way. And you know, it's really interesting that so many people love it, but there's no real formal study of it by anybody that knows how to do it.
But it's getting there.
Kind of. I think
All the
there's
studies are so boring. If you read like Simon Critchley, I think it's on humor, you're like, I'm so bored. You hear Freud talk about humor, you're like, yeah, dude, it's about tension release. No shit. It's
Yeah.
fucking boring when you read people dissecting comedy, like it can get boring.
It's not just about tension release, though.
Oh, it's so much
There's
more.
a thing going on when someone's killing, and I liken it to a mass hypnosis.
Yeah.
You know, like if Joey Diaz is on stage and he's crushing, like you're under a spell.
Right.
You're under a spell. You're in his mind.
A rhythm too.
Yeah.
It's like you're lulled
Yeah.
in. Yeah, I mean that's the cool thing about comics. There's guys like Nate Bargatze or something like that, where the jokes like he has a rhythm that's so unique. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm just under his spell. As
Yes.
you said, yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool.
It's kind of like a hypnosis. It really is.
Yeah,
You know, and then we're just trying to piece it together in the most like digestible way possible. The way that has the best impact. Make sure you scour all the corners. Make sure you cover all the angles. Clear the room.
yeah, it's great, man. It's a
It's
great
fun.
time, and
It's a fun thing.
the road is people really fucking like. We are in a boom. I mean, you started this. It wasn't like this, right?
When I started
Yeah.
stand up, no, nothing like this. No, this is the craziest comedy boom ever because of YouTube. Because of YouTube for podcasts, YouTube for comedy specials, and then for Netflix.
Yeah.
Netflix, it made it a boom too. There's like so many people that can travel now. It used to be like there wasn't that many people that did theaters. You know,
Yeah.
when I was coming up, theater, nobody did theaters. I saw Rich Jeni when he was at his prime, when he was on HBO. I saw him in a comedy club.
Damn,
At his
he was a
prime.
funny dude.
Oh my God, he was amazing, dude. He was amazing.
Underappreciated.
Super underappreciated. I sing his praises all the time. I was coming home once from the Irvine Improv, and my Bluetooth just randomly went to a Richard Jeni bit. Just, you know, like random. You know, sometime it'll go to a song. It just went to Richard Jeni because it was on my iTunes thing. And I went, God damn, I forgot how good this was. It was this bit about how he's a fence sitter. It was this bit about like shitting on all of the liberals and then shitting on all the Republicans and then shitting on himself. It's just, I'm like, God damn, he was good. And so then I ordered the whole album on iTunes and I listened to the whole thing on the way home.
It's so
It's
cool.
like it's an incredible
I love.
album.
By the way, I love when it's on shuffle and you hear like it goes from like a Tom Waits song to like Nick DiPaolo, and you're like, that was fucking. That was a big right turn right there. Holy shit!
I
No,
think it's a steaming pile of me. I think that's the one
Yes.
that I downloaded.
that's one. That,
Fucking, he was good, man.
he was excellent, and I think it's important to make fun of both sides, and that's I. It makes me sad to see people get mad at Jon Stewart right now for shitting on both sides. I think he's a comedian first, and I think it's cool to when you go to the clubs, they don't know exactly what you're going to say.
Yeah, if you're gonna have Jon Stewart back on the Daily Show and Biden is making up words, he's gonna bring it up. He's not gonna just only fucking simp for the Democrats. He's gonna say some funny shit about anything that happens to Democrats too. It's funny. It's part of what the show used to be.
It's weird that there's like a social responsibility people attribute to comedians when it's like most of us got good at this by cursing at strangers in a bar.
Yeah. I mean, we all have our political opinions, which is fine, but it's like what John's capable of is delivering the news in a very funny way. He's the best at it. He's the best at that role of being like the guy that's doing the satire of the news, you know, just breaking down everything that's wrong and fucking stupid in the world.
He is the peak, and it's interesting because he's like the Animal House. He's like National Lampoon's Animal House of. He's like the bar, and then then everyone tries to copy Animal House, right?
Right.
And you end up with a lot of like Porky's, Van Wilder 2, The Rise of Taj. You're like, all right, this isn't as good. But Stewart, like, if you actually look at his stand-up, like, it's like any form of entertainment. To break these rules, you have to know the rules, and Stewart is a great stand-up.
Yeah, he's a very funny guy.
He had jokes.
He's
I
a very
remember,
smart
like,
guy.
I remember he had a joke back in the day. Where it was about like how Jews and black people are similar because Jews, black people we have the blues, and Jews we just complain all the time. We just never thought to put it to music, and I'm like, that's the type of observation that's like unifying. That's like
Yeah.
bringing a room together.
Yes.
I love that.
That's a very funny bit too.
Yeah, he had a great special in the '90s called Unleavened. I remember it. It was on Comedy Central all the time.
Yeah, so he's back like on the Daily Show sometimes. Is that what it is?
Mondays.
He
was like, I'll give you one day.
That's a good move for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do it? I guess he had a deal with Apple, and I don't know if they're saying the specifics of why they canceled the show, but it was something akin to they didn't want him to say anything that would get them in trouble. Something along those lines. I
don't
forget
think
what his quote
maybe
was.
about China, and they're like, "Hey, we make a lot of shit over
Here
there."
it is.
Yeah.
Here it is. Apple. Jon Stewart says Apple TV canceled his show because they didn't want me to say things that might get me in trouble. Okay.
Damn.
Boy, kids, what kind of a world are we talking?
And by the way, that's like what comics. That's what gets us excited. The idea that this could get me in trouble, like that. That's everything.
Also, Apple, by the way, you distribute all the apps that do all the trouble.
And you
that's
take a
getting
percentage,
everybody
too.
in trouble.
You take a percentage of
all
their
over the
profits.
place. You don't want Jon Stewart to say something that might get him in trouble. Why don't you let him decide for himself?
What's great about Jon Stewart too is like there's so many comics who are like, and I have no issue with this, but speak like recklessly. And Jon is so careful with his words and so skilled at it.
Yeah. I wanted a place to unload thoughts as we get into this election season, Stewart said. I thought I was going to do it over at, they call Apple TV Plus. It's a television enclave, very small. It's like living in Malibu. But they decided they felt that they didn't want me to say things that might get me in trouble. Okay. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
That could mean a lot of things.
Very coded. I think it's talking about,
I think
China maybe.
Yeah, I think there was a
Stuff
China,
like that.
there was something about that
Yeah.
Apple did. Like Apple obviously works with China.
That's what the reporting
What was the
in this
subject?
article says.
It says China.
Maybe it's something
AI
like
in
that.
China.
Okay, Times reported that the duo had disagreements over topics that were to be covered in the third season, including AI and China. Wow, they had a disagreement about AI and China. These people, what are they doing? Members of the U.S. House of Representatives later questions Apple CEO Tim Cook about whether the tech giant's decision to cancel Stewart's show was because the host may have been planning an upcoming episode about China. He says, while companies have the right to determine what content is appropriate for their streaming service, the coercive tactics of a foreign power should not be directly or indirectly influencing those determinations. The leaders of the House of Representatives Select Committee on Competition with the Chinese Communist Party wrote in a letter to Cook. Holy shit. While Stewart did not mention the rumors about Apple's alleged worry over an episode about China, he did say the tech giant didn't want me to say things that might get me in trouble. As for his Daily Show return, he said he hopes to provide a catharsis to viewers this election season and a way to comment on things and a way to express them that hopefully people will enjoy.
Well, so far.
That sounds like China said, don't fucking put that shit on.
Yeah.
That's what I got out
It
of
is
that.
so-
What did you get out of that, Sam?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like that Seth Rogen movie.
Yeah.
About
The
North
dictator.
Korea. Yeah,
Is that one that's still available? Can you get that?
I think so.
Bro.
Remember when there was like tension? Like, are we going to get nuked over a Seth Rogen movie?
I remember watching that going like, do you know how dangerous those people are? Do you know you want North Koreans mad at you for hee-hees and ha-has?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oof.
And then they hacked the servers, right? Isn't that how that happened?
Is that what happened? They
Was
hacked the servers?
that Sony, right?
Yeah. And then a bunch of shit got found out
Yeah.
in emails. And
Was that definitely them? Was
That's
that?
what I was trying to remember. I
That
thought
could
so,
just
but
be
maybe,
cyber criminals.
I think it was.
It
Yeah, I
could've been
don't.
a coincidence,
I don't.
I
It might have
guess,
been a coincidence, and
It could be cyber criminals that decided to attack based on that. They
Oh
must-
no.
No?
According to the wiki, it says
Can I just dream?
that
a boy
year,
dream?
It was
the
them?
Guardians of the Peace, a cyber crime group allegedly connected to the North Korean government.
Okay, it is connected, huh?
Yeah.
Damn.
Guardians of Peace. What a great name. That sounds like a government bill.
it is.
Guardians of Peace sounds like a new bill they would push in front of the House.
Man, some of the Senate. Remember when the Senate did? They did a hearing on. It was like during Katrina. I think they did like 1 day on Katrina and 9 days on steroids in baseball. Because they just wanted. It was like because you just want to meet Rafael Palmeiro. Remember? They're like, oh, we're big fans.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I mean, the shit that they get concerned with is so crazy.
yeah, but you don't want to go full communist. You don't want
Right.
to say like the news shouldn't be able to make money. You know, they should be able to make money.
They should be able
but-
to make money, but the second you combine news and entertainment,
Yeah, it gets
it's
real
a dangerous, mucky
squirrely.
area.
It gets real squirrely.
Because entertainment is not news.
It's not
the
news
news
at
is
all.
supposed to be boring.
Boring as shit.
You're supposed to be like, why am I
Yeah.
watching? And now we have it in a way where like, you watch 12 straight out of the news, that's a fucking problem.
Well, what's my favorite is the in-between story banter. That is the most uncomfortable, hurried, kind of weird fake talk that exists in all of television. It doesn't exist anywhere else on earth right now in mainstream entertainment. And the banter between the anchor and like the weather lady as they're throwing back and forth to each other, then this guy.
Oh, dude.
It is the fakest. Well, that seems like I don't know what to say about that.
I still do morning news just to ruin the segments. That's the only reason I go on. I do it all the
You
time.
did a good one in Columbus.
Did you see that one?
Yeah, it's from so I definitely
That was
saw it.
that was
What'd
one,
you do?
I could send it to you. It's pretty funny.
I'll find it.
Yeah, I think I have it here. It's probably on my Instagram or something. I just kept making up that they had a human trafficking problem in Columbus, and the guy lost it on me. Because I'll only do those news segments if they're live, because there's no point in doing a tape one. They'll just edit out whatever horrible thing I do. But, you know, sometimes you get someone really cool and you'll just riff with them and be silly. But this dude, I could tell, I'll throw like a jab to see if it bothers them. And if I can sense it bothers them, I'll go like 100 miles an hour and just derail the segment. I remember I have a publicist, Pam, who hates me. I'm like, I don't care about morning radio. Just book me on morning shows. And she's like, they're on to you. They know you're going to ruin the segment. But Pam, she gets so mad at me.
But do you ever go on one and the people are cool and you don't ruin the segment?
Yeah, totally. But they usually end up, sometimes they think it's funny. But other times, yeah, I did one. We were on a tour bus last year, and I pretended my opener, Gary Veter, overdosed on cocaine on the bus. And they were so mad at me. And she called me like, you're banned from Good Morning Durham. And I was like, I'll live. But we've done a lot where I poke and I see what I can get away with.
How many people are watching those shows?
Not a lot, but when I share them, they do pretty well because they're weird to watch me do something bad.
Yeah.
I can text it to you. I think I have it on my phone somewhere.
I'm trying to find it.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I haven't looked
No
at it yet,
people under 60 are watching that, right? Am I correct?
Probably not. I mean, sometimes when I'm in a hotel, I have it on in the background just for like background noise when I'm bored on the road.
Right.
But like, yeah, I don't. It's something the new. It's almost like I want to watch the news, but I don't want to think.
Yeah.
Which it's like I'm not going to watch like BBC. I'm going to watch Pittsburgh Today Live.
Local man eaten by alligator.
That was the first one, Pittsburgh. Actually, I pretended I was molested on air, and because she just kept asking the dumbest questions, and she goes, "When did you catch the funny bug?" And I said, "Well, my uncle molested me, and he was funny, and I caught it like Spider-Man." And they just stared at me like, "Oh, yeah, is it? Yeah, that's it. No, that's Springfield. I know him all. That's a guy."
Did this joke on Instagram less than 24 hours ago. Talk about what people can expect. I mean, have you been to Columbus before, or is this the first time for you?
No, I've been. I love Columbus. Great city. Big fan of. Despite all the human trafficking going on there, I still find a lot of fun. A great city, nonetheless.
You've got your class act score.
I could tell he doesn't want it, so this is where I poke.
This Friday, October 27th. Tell us what we can expect with that.
I'm going to talk
Like
about the
that.
human trafficking epidemic in Columbus, Ohio.
What is going on with the human? What are you talking about? Are you a big sports fan? What's going on with that?
I'll tell you what I'm not a fan of is human trafficking.
I don't know where you're going with
There
this.
are a lot of news reports. Yes. All right. Well, listen, Sam, enjoy.
This is
your
the best
time
part,
in
'cause he
Ohio,
snaps here.
And,
We'll
yeah.
look forward to seeing you. Thanks,
Thank
Sam.
you guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, have a good one. I don't know. I think I know he's kind of edgy and funny. I didn't get the human trafficking thing because it really wasn't funny the first time, and then he kept doing it 2 and 3 and 4 times.
Yeah.
And I tried to ask him. You saw me try to ask him, is this a joke? Are you trying to be funny? What are you trying to do? And it just didn't. Well, I was just trying to explain. The audience just saw the same thing too. Okay, we'll go to break.
Good morning.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, he really lost it. That's the only way they're worth doing to me, though, is if it's like insanely uncomfortable.
It makes you think, like, even just the way you do one of those shows. Like, those people aren't real friends. You know, like you're trying to make.
Some of them are good.
Some of them are good together.
Well, Good Morning America, those two that were fucking, they were real
Yeah,
friends.
they were great.
And they were great at their job.
That's why
They
were good
shouldn't have been
together.
fired
Why were they fired?
for fucking. Well, here's what happened. She just fucked him. He was fucking everybody there, so I think they were like, well, if we fire him. I mean, yeah, we got to.
Well,
But they were good. I did their show once, and it was just a regular interview because they were fun.
well, they should do a podcast together. Are they doing
I think
a
they are.
podcast? There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want a boss, especially in those kind of environments. It's just too restrictive. And it makes me think, if you like look at that guy, like, no offense to that guy that you were just talking to, but I couldn't imagine some sort of an audition process that yielded such results.
Yeah.
Like, this is the best you guys have to fucking
It's a big city, Columbus.
tell the news.
Big city with a lot of human trafficking.
It's
Yeah.
It's
She
just
almost backed you up on that. I don't know if you heard that.
She did.
She's like, there's
Yeah.
a lot of reports. And then
Yeah.
a lot of reports.
I just think it's a funny rumor to make up to be like you have a human trafficking problem, and I had no research to back that up. But it clearly, if you have Columbus pride, it bothers you.
There are stories. There are stories.
There's also, you're doing it on Zoom, which is extra frustrating because
Yeah.
like you're not even in the room, so they can't even go, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you know, you're so disconnected. They have to be very obvious when they're talking to you.
But I've done it where I was bad and it wasn't live, and they just edited it out. I'm like, God damn it, you know, got to get the live ones. But it's hard to ask for live because they know you're going to do something. So you see my predicament. I'm like, I want live, and they're like, what's he going to do?
Well, I think the gig is up.
We'll see. I got one coming up. We'll see if they unbook me.
They're not gonna. Maybe they'll be prepared and they just let you fuck with them.
They
If
have
were
done that
smart-
before, and they were. I did one pre-recorded for New York One. When I was promoting MSG Theater, I did that one, and they were mad I didn't do it. But it was like, I was like, it was pre-recorded, and they were like, yeah, they told my friend, they were like, yeah, he just behaved. It was really a bummer. And I was like, well, now I got to be bad. I guess.
Because you knew it was pre-recorded. So
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah, what's the point? I was just
Why-
kind of out of energy. I was like, what's the point?
deflated.
Yeah,
They're playing dirty. Pre-recorded with you is playing dirty.
it is.
Yeah,
I'm
why are you
playing
doing
dirty
that?
too, though. But
You are, but that's the game we play. That's the game
Yeah.
we play.
It's
If you
just
wanna do a
fun.
morning show. When
Yeah.
Segura used to do DJ Dad Mouth.
yes. TJ Miller was another one who would do crazy shit on there, and I was like, I love that.
Segura was the king of it.
Yeah.
He came out as non-binary on a morning show. Just fucking total deadpan with a gold chain on and sunglasses.
His energy's perfect for it too.
Oh, it's
He's
so-
got that calming energy too.
And just the name DJ Dadmouth, like what the fuck? Oh my god, that's so funny. It's so fucking stupid.
Yeah. It's fun. But you're right. You kind of killed a lot of those types of shows with your show because it's like, would you rather see them on, Good Morning, whatever, for 4 minutes or on your show for 3 hours? They'd rather see this.
Yeah, but it's just that format sucks.
It's a bad format.
It
I
sucks.
still like the idea of a live interview. I still think that's really fun. Like
Live
with a crowd.
interviews are fun.
But yeah, I mean, you doing 3 hours is like, it would change that, I think.
I was just lazy. I didn't want to edit anything. Ari used to tell me, he goes, you got to edit your show. That was his number one complaint. telling you, listen to me, you got to edit your show. And I was like, why? Like, no one's going to listen to all that. Then they don't have to listen.
Yeah.
I was like, then don't listen. Just, I don't care if you stop halfway in. Like, listen to as much as you want.
Well, you went against what a lot of people say is about the entertainment world, like keep them wanting more. You're just like, nope, this is the show.
It's also this idea that everybody has a short attention span. That's just not true. That's horseshit.
Yeah.
Even people with short attention spans get into things. Like there might be some subject that someone's talking about that lights your interest, lights your curiosity, and then you get locked into it.
Yeah.
Where you would never spend 3 hours ordinarily listening to some guy talk about Egypt, some Graham Hancock type character talking about the people that constructed these things in Turkey and shit. Like, you would never do that, right? In the normal world. But you could get locked into a conversation, and if it's a 3-hour conversation, like, you come out of that much more energized with whatever that subject is.
It's not only is that true, but also I think the fact that people can listen to stuff while they're like cleaning the house and
100%,
stuff. I mean, you can't do that with a movie, right?
The thing is that the number one attractor is always going to be like the TikTok and the Instagram Reels. Those are the ones that
suck you in.
They suck you in. They work with the human mind.
It drives me crazy. Oh, do you get addicted to it?
They're so effective.
I mean,
Instagram Reels
the
are
food
so
ones for
effective.
me fucking ruin my day.
Oh, those are good.
It's just some fucking asshole in his car eating like a sandwich. I'm just watching a dude eat a sandwich.
Yeah.
You break it down, you're like, this is so sad.
Sexy.
Then I'm watching, it is sexy.
Sexy.
And he rates the sandwich, and I'm like, good enough for me. And then they send me 40 more. Everyone's a food critic now.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. I mean, people will find their way.
They find their way.
Yeah, but it's just the addictive
I'm more
nature
mad at
of
myself,
scrolling.
honestly. I'm more mad that that's my
food thing,
my
the
For You
algorithm?
page. Yeah, I'm more. It's mostly food.
Well, I don't think you have to worry.
Someone slicing a tomahawk steak, someone eating a sandwich.
Good. Those are good things.
I love them.
Yeah, those are good
I
things.
find a lot. Gary Veter tours with me, and he just sends me food. Whenever we're on the road, he's like, "We're eating here." I'm like, "What?" He's more high maintenance than any woman I've ever dated. He's like, "You're taking me here. It's 5 stars. You better fucking pay up, bitch."
That's hilarious. That is a nice thing if you go to good cities, right? You could always eat at nice
dude,
restaurants.
Every city's
on
got
the
a nice
road.
restaurant now.
Sure.
Though. I mean,
As long as
people
you don't fuck around in the Netherlands in between realms. If you don't go, too far.
It's weird though. What cities now like? Every city has this crazy food culture now. that
Yep.
No
Yeah.
matter where you are.
I think the internet is partly to blame for that too. I think there's so many YouTube sort of like mini documentaries on chefs and mini documentaries on restaurants that they're opening. And these
There's 9,000 episodes of Chopped. Think about how many chefs there are.
it's a lot of
That's
chefs.
what, 4 chefs per episode?
But that you got to give credit to TV, right? Like the Travel Channel and stuff like that, because those are the first people that like put cooking out there like an art form. Like with Bourdain's show, that was
Yeah.
the first time I ever considered cooking. I was like, oh, it's an art form. You just eat it. It's like I thought of it as just cooking as like carpentry or something like that. You know what I mean?
And I related to it as a comic, just a guy like wandering and being like, oh, let me make the most of Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Yeah.
Instead of eating this vending machine, let me try to find a cool diner or something.
Right. So those are some of the most satisfying places. You find like a cool old place that's been around forever. You get like steak and eggs there.
Nothing gets my dick hard like a boxcar diner, dude. I get so excited. We found one in
Those are
Buffalo, and
great.
we ate there. If we find a good spot, we eat there 3 days in a row. I'm obsessed with like just a cool diner.
Yeah. There was a place called the Star Diner that I used to eat in God, I think it was in Mount Vernon, New York. It was so sketchy, this neighborhood. It was so sketchy, but they had cheeseburger deluxes. And the cheeseburger deluxe had like coleslaw on it.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Coleslaw is underrated on a sandwich.
And you
A
just,
Reuben is an underrated
it's
sandwich.
2:30 in the morning. You're hanging out with men who've just failed miserably, and everyone's eating these disgusting cheeseburgers at 2 o'clock in the morning.
There's
It
something
was such
so
a vibe.
That's like a late night Waffle House. Anytime. Oh, there's
That's
something.
a New York vibe too, like those kind of diners.
There's something about like when you're on the road and you're in a sad place that's like weirdly romantic to me too. Like Gary and I stayed at a Residence Inn in Omaha, and it was just U-Haul truck after U-Haul truck of just shit in the parking lot. I'm like, it's us and 40 divorced men here. There's something so sad about this.
Yep.
But
Get out.
Yeah, I love a late night diner. Or what's your diner order when you go?
Well, it depends on if I'm drunk. If I'm drunk, I might go off the rails. But most of the time, I'm pretty disciplined. Most of the time, I'm just eating like whatever healthy options they have, like meat or eggs or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, most of the time.
Eggs is, I mean, the obvious move, but if like a tuna melt at a diner can be so clutch.
Oh, those are so nice.
They're
Such
so
a nice
good.
invention. How about a tuna patty melt?
Yeah. Or like a souvlaki.
Oh, a souvlaki.
Love a souvlaki.
Yeah.
Fuck.
A gyro, dude. A late night gyro.
Look at you pronouncing it correctly.
Yeah. So I know a lot of Greek people. If it's,
Yeah. I don't
it's
pronounce
done,
it correctly, and I know how to pronounce it, but I just forget.
If it's done the right way with the best bread. Oof.
I love it. Yeah, that like toasted pita.
Oh, yeah, bro. Come on with it.
Whew.
Ooh. If I
man.
had to choose, though, like one option for late night, if something's open that's legit, it would be between Mexican and Italian.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you know, if someone tells you, like, there's a place that serves insane lasagna at 2 a.m, like, we have to go.
For
We
me, it's
have to
pizza all
go.
day. It's
Pizza.
like late night pizza is just it's so I mean,
Especially good pizza. Real
Yeah.
good New York pizza. You get a good slice, just a regular cheese and tomato sauce slice. When it's just perfectly seasoned and it's melting in your mouth, the cheese, you're like, oh my God, this is so good.
I watched so much of that guy just randomly, Portnoy on Barstool doing those reviews.
Oh, he's the best.
I say how much I hate watching these food things, but I fucking can't. I just like I like how he likes all the same types. I like that flop. The New Haven pizza is my favorite pizza.
It's the best pizza in the world, apparently.
Yeah.
And according to Portnoy, he knows more than I told him. I said you should get 10% of all the profits for pizza. I bet if you had like a pizza chart between when Portnoy started doing those reviews to how many people are going and buying pizza now, I bet it's not a small number. I bet
Yeah.
he's impacted the pizza world significantly. I'm not bullshitting. He makes me want to buy pizza.
Yeah, you watch it and
When he bites the crust too, is
Yeah.
I was like, I'm like, oh, it looks like he's having a good time.
We did when I was in Chicago with Matteo Lane. He did the Chicago theater one night, I did the next night. So I just got in early. We hung out. We made pizza at Lou Malnati's deep dish. They let us in there to just make pizza. And then I was like, all right, now I don't like Chicago pizza that much. It's like it tastes good. It's just not my style of pizza. It's like it's not. It's a pie. It's not pizza. Right. So I was like, all right, we'll see if Arturo's in the Village will let This place is Colin Quinn's stamp of approval, which to me, like, he's the most New York guy I've ever met. So if Colin Quinn likes your pizza, you're legit. And we made their pizza, Arturo's on Houston, one of the best pizza spots. Also the vibe. There's a fucking piano player just playing in there. It's like, it's so New York, dude.
Yeah, those places are fantastic.
I love them. And they make good everything.
If you could find a good old Italian hole-in-the-wall spot in New York, like, that's one of the cool things about, like, Mulberry Street.
Yes.
You know, those places, there's some places down there that have been around forever.
Yeah, you'll just Google it and you'll be like, 1909. What the fuck?
What the
Are you
fuck?
kidding me?
Did you ever talk to Fitzsimmons about when he lived there?
Not about that, but yeah, I know Greg. I love Greg.
Fitzsimmons lived right above the social club where John Gotti used to go.
Holy shit.
Holy shit.
How about that John Gotti, man? That guy.
Fitzsimmons
Yeah.
used to live right. I went to his fucking apartment.
That guy. I mean, he was the reason Sparks is popular.
Yes.
Like that's
Yeah.
like you feel like cool walking in. And you're like, this is where the guy got shot.
Right there.
This is where it
Shot him
happened.
Right there. It's a good restaurant, though, too. Fitzsimmons lives
That's
right there.
that's the amount of danger we all like is just to know someone was shot here, and you're like, well, they're not going to do it again. what are the odds another guy gets whacked here, right?
They don't whack each other that often. What year did Gotti get arrested?
He got arrested so many times.
Was it in
didn't
the
he?
90s?
But it was
I'm
like-
trying to figure out like when Fitzsimmons was there. Was he there while the social club was in operation? I know the whole family that owned the building was all like, "Go beats the beats." Like he had deals where he'd give the mother some money. Like my Frankie doesn't have to know about this. This is my gambling money, and like she would take that money. Like they had like little deals. Like they would pay. He would pay like the mother and the father separately.
December 1990.
December 1990. Okay, so that must mean he was already in jail by the time Fitzsimmons lived there. Because I think Greg and we came to New York around the same time, and that was like, Greg might have been there first too. I don't know.
He was like the media darling. It's so weird to be a murderer and you're like on the cover of the Post, like with a pun. You know, just like, this guy's fun, you know? Because he kept getting off, right? How many times did he get off?
Yeah, they
like
called him
3,
the
right?
Teflon Don.
Teflon Don.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those weird times where, like, you know who the mob boss is, and he's wearing a nice suit, and he's walking around in front of everybody. Like,
It's
what
weird.
The fuck?
It's really weird to be a mob celebrity.
Yeah.
And then people take like if he was around now, you'd be like, selfie.
But you know what it's like? It's like you're in a race, but your car's not quite strong enough to do that. And then the federal government shuts the race down.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're in Mexico, you can actually do that. If you're in Mexico and you're a cartel leader, you are a cartel
You're the guy.
leader. That's legit. No one's putting you in jail.
But it's weird to be able to do that in New York.
Yeah, very weird. But it was also a different time, right? You know, it was a
We
different
glamorize
time.
that shit, though. We all do. Like, dude, because mob movies are the best movies. I mean, like, you got Godfather, Goodfellas. You
Sopranos,
got
one of the best shows of all
probably
time.
my number one, honestly.
God, it's good. God damn, it's good. I rewatched an episode the other day. I'm like, God.
It might be one of the funniest shows ever, too. That's how good it is. It's
a great
fucking.
show.
There's a line in that show where, like, Meadows being a spoiled brat, and they're like, "We're gonna ground you. You can't do this." And she just runs away. And Carmela's like, "What are they gonna? What do we do when we realize that we have no power?" It's like such an honest, funny line. I mean, Tony, and Gandolfini. We were like robbed of so many more good Gandolfini projects.
God, he was good.
He's the fucking best.
He was so good. He became that guy. Like,
Yeah.
he did a lot of different characters in different movies, and he was really good at being a creep. Wasn't he in... What was that?
True Romance?
True Romance. Yes,
scary in
that's
that movie.
right. Holy shit.
That movie holds up, by the way. I just
Oh my
watched it
God.
again recently. It's fucking great. Dennis
God
Hopper,
damn.
dude, and Walken. That scene is fucking insane.
Oh, my God.
That's some classic Tarantino 90s dialogue right there. That's
Oh,
some
my
good
God. True Romance.
shit. This is one of the more violent scenes I've ever
Yeah.
seen in a movie.
I got this in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah, let's not watch it.
But dude, he's in like Get Shorty.
Yep.
He's in so many fucking movies.
But when he became Tony Soprano, he, like, was that guy.
Yeah.
It's like, to have an actor that good playing a mob boss to the point where you are sympathetic. You're rooting for this murderer.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're rooting for Tony Soprano.
They humanized him. I mean, when
Yeah.
you show him at like a cookout,
Yeah.
you're like, I go to cookouts.
Yeah.
You know, I do. I mean, they made him human.
And he was just following the rules of his game. That's the game that he did.
And
They
he was
just
the
didn't
best
have-
at it.
They didn't have high enough horsepower. But again, if he was El Chapo, I guess they got him too. But we
and
got
his,
him.
and his wife too, right?
Who took over? Like, that guy doesn't have a name.
I don't
That's
know.
a good move. If you're going to be a cartel guy, tell
Yeah,
everybody.
reservation tonight
like,
for the cartel guy. You don't know his
You
name.
want to be John Doe.
Yeah.
And you want everybody to shut the fuck up. You don't want anybody. You're running a cartel, sir.
but they would remind you that he was a monster every once in a while. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
he kills his fucking own guy. He's a monster.
Who killed their own guy?
Tony kills
Yeah.
Christopher.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They'd hit you
That's
with
right.
reminders, everyone. I mean, the show was so
Nice.
fun that they'd have to hit you with like the brutal reminders of Phil Leotardo sodomizing a gay character. It's like they'd have to hit you with that because you'd be like, oh, this is funny, and then you hit that, you'd be like, Jesus.
Yeah. There was a lot of Jesus moments in that show. What's really funny is if you watch the first episode of the show, it was almost like satire.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch it?
Incredible pilot.
It was very funny, though. It was like a comedy.
Yeah.
Like the way
The car chase thing?
when
where-
she's got the machine gun and like because she was outside with the machine gun. I think she thought her kid was sneaking out of the house. Or
was
something
that Carmela?
Like that. Yeah.
Yes, right.
Remember?
Yeah.
Something happened and she
I
was
remember that
outside
a
with an
little.
AK-47. You're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
What is this show?
Yeah.
But she became much more like normal.
Yeah.
Like she wasn't like that. Like it was almost like they were doing like a network sitcom-y version of mobsters.
They went, yeah, it was cool to see the show grow, but damn, it's like
Yeah.
the first season even goes, it's like him versus his uncle Junior. I mean, that was a fucking great storyline.
Great storyline. There's so many great storylines. I mean, it's just a fucking phenomenal show, man.
Yeah.
Phenomenal
David
show.
Chase, I mean, he created, I think he used to write for like Rockford Files too. It's like interesting
Everything
career.
about that show, even that whole opening montage with the sound, the woke up this morning, got
So
yourself
good.
a gun.
Yeah.
Fuck. It was like you got so pumped for every episode.
Yeah.
New Sopranos is on. So
It's
exciting.
tough. That was like, there's so many great shows. It's tough to touch. You know, I mean, that was really like a golden age in TV.
It
The way
really
like
was.
the 60s, 70s was a golden age in Hollywood, you know, where like
Yeah.
you get like all those fucking old movies of like, you know, Bonnie and Clyde starting this off, The Graduate, Chinatown, Godfather, Taxi Driver, like all these insane, Apocalypse Now, you know?
Yeah. Comedy movies took the biggest hit.
Recently, man.
We took the biggest
Isn't it
hit.
crazy?
Everybody loves them, but now you have to rewatch old ones so people don't get offended.
I think it'll come back at some point. Because I was watching The Hangover on TV the other day, and I was like, people are going to be hungry for this shit.
Well, what's hilarious is the Daily Wire tried to do something, right?
Yeah.
They did something, right? They made a movie, right? They made a movie about transgender athletes and a bunch of men who decide they're going to compete as women. And then after that, there's a new thing that's been happening in Canada where they've got these two teams are playing against each other. And there's 5 biological males that are identifying as females and dominating this volleyball game. And the biological females, all of them are sitting on deck while these 5 men
They don't know why they're riding the bench.
are crushing it.
Yeah.
There's 5 of them.
Yeah.
Like, this is in Canada. Like, that is so insane.
You know what the thing is about those movies? I saw the trailer for the Daily Wire thing. I didn't see it, but the thing about those movies is, and I didn't see this one, you got to remember if you're going that irreverent to have the heart of like a Fairley Brothers movie.
Right.
Because like Something About Mary is a great movie because like you forget he's stalking this woman because he's so likable. He's stalking Mary. He hires a guy to stalk her, but in the first scene, she's got a mentally challenged brother and he gets his ass kicked protecting her, and you're like, he's a good guy. So I think go for the fucking jugular, but make sure that you love the characters.
Yeah, and also there's not a lot of really good. Like, how many people are really good at making those kind of movies? You know, there's a few people that like.
Well, Todd Phillips
excel.
went to serious movies, right? You know, so he was like one of the last ones making like big hits.
But if that genre dries up, like that used to be a giant genre. Like,
It bums me out, dude. I love comedy movies, but you're right. Like, what do I watch? I watch fucking Back to School. I watch like.
right? Yeah.
Have you seen Back to School recently?
I haven't.
Dude, it's every line, every character there is just there to set up Dangerfield.
You know what my favorite part is? The Kinnison scene.
It's one of the best scenes
Dude, pull
ever.
that up. Pull that up.
where he just fucking Rodney.
Kinnison and Rodney Dangerfield in the classroom. This is fucking amazing. Started from the beginning.
A lot of people think, welcome.
really seems to care
About what I have no idea.
I love him so. Dude, I remember Whitney is making something about Dangerfield, and I was leaving her podcast with her once, and she was like, "Do you want to talk to?" She knows I love him, so she's like, "Do you want to talk to his wife on the phone?" I was like, "Yeah." So we call her, and she's like the nicest woman. She's just like, she's like, "I loved him so much." Like, imagine getting to wake up to someone that funny every day. Like, it just made me so happy.
That's awesome.
And she goes, "You want to hear a Rodney joke that no one's ever heard?" I was like, "Yeah." When he went in for some kind of surgery, he was worried he was going to die. He's like, if I can't be funny, it's like, what's the point? You know, he goes in, and when they wake him up, they go, "Rodney, did you cough anything up?" He goes, "Yeah, 500 last week to a whore." Everyone laughs. They're like, "Oh, he's okay."
Right when he wakes up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Never not funny. So fucking. You even see episodes. It's funny where he's on like Howard Stern, and Stern's trying to like get him to open up, and he just keeps doing like one-liners. It's so funny. He's like, "So your childhood's like, oh yeah, I had a rough childhood, I'll tell you." He's like, "No, stop with the jokes. I'm trying to connect with you." It's so he couldn't not be that dude. He was so fucking funny.
He was. We have his handwritten notes for his last Tonight Show set in the club.
Oh my
If you're in the
God.
green room of the club.
I can't wait to see the club.
Oh, you haven't seen it
I
yet?
haven't been there yet.
Oh,
I tried to come in December, but I couldn't line it up right, and I was like,
Well, Yeah, if you look on the wall in the green room, there's his wife gave us these handwritten notes from his Tonight Show set.
Wow.
So it's breaking down his material and then breaking down stuff to talk about on the couch.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Dude, those old Carson sets where he's just machine gunning jokes.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Well, his story is so interesting too because he quit comedy for a long time and he's selling aluminum siding.
Yeah.
And I guess he never stopped writing.
Yeah.
I guess he kept writing even when he wasn't doing comedy. And when he came back, he had all this material.
And he said, that was a famous line, I was the only one who knew I quit, to give you an idea how well I was doing, right? That's the
Yeah.
classic. Yeah, but he came back and,
Isn't that interesting?
I mean, dude, his movies are like, Caddyshack's great.
Yeah.
Fucking, the one with Pesci, Easy Money.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah, he had some bangers.
Even Meet Wally Sparks, I know it's like critics shit on the movie. I love it. I love the scene where he walks up to a couple on the dance floor and they're making out. He's like, you two should go get a room. Then he walks up to a fatter couple. He's like, you two should go get a warehouse. It's like, that's just like killer joke writing.
Right. And with that face, he was one of those dudes, like his face was always funny.
I loved him. Yeah, he's so good. Just pure funny. There's nothing else. It's just, I'm going to be fun. And it's like, that's another example. Like, you go, you can say whatever he wants because, like, I'm going to go help my kid at school. Like, it's fucking, these are good stories, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, Sandler, Billy Madison, it's like, it's going back to school is a funny premise to put a silly guy around kids,
Yeah.
and he's the most immature one.
Yeah.
It's just a great premise.
Yeah, it really is. Those movies, Sandler's movies don't get enough respect.
By me, they do. I love Sandler.
But it drives me nuts when like people shit on those movies because I'm like, what are you expecting this to be?
Yeah.
Because this is like a classic old timey comedy movie where it's just funny. It's just
also like kind of his style of comedy is
Wholesome.
like weirdly kind of vulnerable. The way how he's
Yeah.
that silly.
Yeah.
You fall on your face doing that shit. I mean, I did a bunch of road gigs with him. He is the nicest fucking dude.
Oh, he's the nicest guy ever.
I would be more stressed playing basketball with him than I would doing the shows with him because I'm like, I just don't want to miss an open jump shot on Sandler's team.
He plays
he's
really
still-
good basketball, right?
He's good, yeah. He had hip surgery, but he's still good.
Jesus. When do you have had done?
That was like a year ago, but he can still play, and it's
You mean you got a hip replacement?
I forgot. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but he's yeah, he'll make like the no look passes. It's fun.
Really?
He's sick.
Oh wow.
But it's funny playing on his team. You get every fucking call. Like I'm used to playing with people, and they're just like, I didn't fucking foul you, but with Sandler's like, I must have hit you.
That's hilarious. And who are the guys he's playing?
He's got a guy, Joe Vesey, who's really good. Joe can hoop. And then sometimes it's just his circle, but then sometimes you go to the gym and he's just like playing with people at the gym.
Real, just random people.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. He's the fucking man.
It's a very good dude.
Zohan was on TV the other day.
That's a great movie.
It's fucking funny, dude.
It's a funny
I was
movie,
laughing,
man.
brushing his teeth with hummus. That's fucking hilarious.
There was a lot of funny shit in that movie.
Yeah.
I watched every Adam Sandler movie with my kids when we were locked down for the pandemic. That was our thing. We would just watch.
They're good. They're
Sandler
comforting
movies.
watches.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah.
They're wholesome. When they were, nervous about what the fuck is going on in the world,
Yeah.
it's fun little entertainment.
Yeah.
Just disconnect from things. It was nice.
You need those escape movies because it's like, so much. I want to watch the Oscar movies too, but some of them are like, all right, we get it. It's fucking like 40 minutes in, nothing's happened, and you're like, can something happen? It is
Right.
It's supposed to be entertaining.
Right.
Do you watch any of those? Like I just watched Anatomy of a Fall. I thought that was really good. I don't know if you saw that.
What's that?
It's a French movie. It's a guy falls out. They're in the Alps, I think, and he falls out a window and dies. Her husband, and everyone thinks she killed him.
Oh,
and,
Jesus
But it's one of those
Christ.
ambiguous movies where you're like, you kind of don't know. It's really well done. I watched American Fiction yesterday. I thought that was pretty good
American Fiction.
with Jeffrey Wright. You know that guy?
No.
He's good, really good actor. He's
What is
almost like Black Paul Giamatti.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's like a great character actor. This dude. You've
Oh,
seen
the
him
guy
before.
was in the West movie.
Westworld, yeah.
Westworld.
Yeah.
He's really good in Westworld.
Yeah, this is a good movie. It's funny.
That guy's been in a bunch of things.
Yeah, he's fucking
He's
great.
always great.
Yeah, and then The Holdovers with Paul Giamatti was really good if you haven't seen that.
Westworld was pretty fucking good.
I got to watch it. I've never seen. That was HBO too, right?
Yeah, it got a little violent, and Mrs. Rogan tapped out, and so I got kind of left stranded. If she's not into watching,
I've been
some
there.
So I stopped watching it, but I really did love, I think, the first 2 seasons. And, you know, as AI moves into our lives, that show seems less and less weird, less and less possible. Like everything they're talking about doing on that show, I'm like, maybe someday they just
Isn't that fucking crazy?
Maybe someday they're going to be able to do that. It seems,
Yeah.
I mean, everything from how they explained how they created this environment that seemed like it was another planet. You know,
Yeah.
that seemed like it was really the West, but it was really just in this domed environment.
Just even things like the Oculus or the new Apple Vision,
Yeah.
you're like, what is happening?
Bro, we're going to be so fucked in about 5 to 10 years. Because
Yeah.
it's going to be too late to turn back, and we're going to be embedded. There's something going to happen where you're going to get an advantage from being connected to a network that you don't get without it. That's almost like impossible to live without. Like giving
You
someone
mean like Twitter?
like cell phones.
Yeah, but everything.
There's people that can get by without. I know some people that have deleted Twitter. They've just said, I don't want to do this anymore. I know some people that have like kicked it. But they don't kick cell phones.
You can't kick cell phones.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it becomes like at that stage.
But if you're addicted, your cell phone has Twitter. I mean, unless you want to be one of those people who has, you know, like a fucking 1999 Razor now,
Right.
you know?
Well, you can get what is that simple phone? I know a lot of people get that. It's like you can't do anything on it. It'll store music. I think all it does is like text message and make phone calls.
No, I've seen
I don't even
people
know
with
if you
that.
can do email on it.
But that people need email.
I know. You're going to carry a second device just for email? Like, what if you're involved in some sort of a business decision and you need to be on the fly, able to respond to an email?
You unplug for like a few hours and you're like,
Yeah.
what did I miss? It's
Light phone.
Oh, light phone. Is that it?
I don't know if this is the only one, but this is a saying right here: get rid of clickbait, social media, minimal.
Yeah, I think this is it. Yep, that's
no
it.
email.
It's an experience we all call going light. No email, no
Going
internet
light.
browser, but it's probably better for you.
It definitely. I mean, people who Ari will do that. He will disconnect. Like he'll get back to me and be like, "Sorry, I was in fucking
Thailand.
yeah, I was in Thailand."
Yeah,
Yeah.
he'll do it. But he's got an iPhone too. He should shut the fuck up. He
Yeah,
gave in.
he gave
Everybody
in.
gives in.
You got to give in.
You got to give in.
It's too good.
Also, you miss out on things. Like if Tom Segura and I almost every day send each other the most horrific accidents, disasters, boulders, crashing fucking cars that are on mountain roads, like everything fucked up we send back and forth to each other. And if I didn't have the ability to click on the link, I'm missing a little bit of joy in my day. Or
And
a
your
little
connection to your friends.
Yeah, your connection to your friends. Because
So
that's where
it's-
the joy is not in watching people get gored by bulls. The joy is in that me and my friend have this unspoken agreement to send each other the worst shit we could find every day.
And find jokes in that. And that's like, you know, when people say like dark jokes and stuff, it's like, no, that's a light joke. You took a dark subject and you're finding light jokes about it, you know?
Yeah, you're lightening up the situation slightly.
But that's the problem is like, you're right. You're disconnected on these phones.
Yeah.
But then you're also connected. So it's like now it's kind of a catch-22. Whichever way you do it, you're a little fucked.
Yeah, you're fucked. You're going to miss out on things if you're disconnected. And if you're too connected, you're going to be addicted and fucking losing all your life energy and time and attention to nonsense, which is what a lot of people are doing all day long. You're just scrolling through nonsense. You just get nonsense in front of your face. It's just, there's nothing nourishing about it. Nothing is like exciting your mind. It's just dumb thing after dumb thing after dumb thing after dumb thing. And the thing that doesn't do that is podcasts, which is interesting. Because
Yeah,
it's
I try
like
to
the
listen to, like-
antidote for that. Or books on tape. Books
on tape are great.
Fantastic.
It's a great thing to
Yeah.
do. I do think about how much we're on the move. It's great
Yeah.
for flights, great for like in your car ride. You might get nauseous if you read.
Yeah.
But I think about how invasive it's going to be because there's wheelchairs now that can be driven by neurological impulses. So it's like, okay, that's your fucking thoughts? Mm-hmm. It can read your thoughts.
Yeah.
Like how far are we from... I have a lot of
not
bad
that far.
thoughts, Joe.
Yeah, I bet you do. I bet you do when you're on those morning shows. Imagine if you could get arrested for your thoughts. Like, because I think some things that I would never do.
You got to erase your browser mind thoughts too.
Yeah.
Like
Could you
erase your
imagine-
history.
Could you imagine if you had an impulse to just smash someone in the face, but you were resisting it? You weren't going to do it.
Are you a good person if you're resisting it constantly?
It depends on who you're talking to.
Yeah.
If you're the asshole all the time, you're constantly getting in fights with people, it might be you. But
we all know that person who's like, this fucking asshole. I'm like, everyone's an asshole in your stories.
But there's also times when some people need to be smacked. And there's in those moments, like, imagine if you could get arrested because you tested positive for a potential aggressive episode. Right?
It's like a COVID test.
Like
you get 2 lines.
You're keeping your shit together, but you're imagining just teeing off on this guy, just smashing this
He
dude.
could be a danger.
Yeah, like, hey, man,
Yeah.
stop doing it. But if you have that thought, I'm about to smash that guy. A light goes off, the cops come in, and they arrest you. And they arrest you because you had a potentially violent episode. You hit red line.
You're red
Sam.
flag.
Sam, this is a serious thing. You
Yeah.
went to red line. But I didn't do anything. But you might have.
Yeah.
Or they'll tell you were going to. We know. We have predictive technology here in
Predictive
Westworld.
technology. Well, like, or yeah, that movie Minority Report.
Yes. That seemed so impossible.
Predicting murders.
Now it's like the World Economic Forum guy was saying that they won't have to have elections in the future.
Wow.
We will be able to predict with such precision that we don't
Save a
need
lot of money, though.
elections.
Did you see this story going
What?
around?
British
Kid-
man acquitted over London, Spain flight bomb hoax.
He texted and Snapchat to his friends, "I'm on the way to blow up the plane. I'm a member of the Taliban." Then
Oh my God.
the Spanish,
As,
Oh my
as a joke.
God.
as a joke, he said to joke to his friends.
That's a
and then
good
two
bit.
Spanish F-18s were scrambled to.
Look how close the F-18 is
Yeah,
to that other jet's
very
wing.
close.
That's insane.
He was just acquitted, though, because the judge was like, there's obviously no threat here. But what was curious is how the message was found, because Snapchat's supposed to be encrypted. And some people think it's because of the Wi-Fi network at the airport. And the airport says that's not how it was. And then the UK authorities said, where was it right here?
So is this evidence of some new technology?
That I mean, as you guys were saying this stuff, that's why I brought it up.
Do you think that's what they're... What are you interpreting this as?
They said that they have, there it is. For unknown reasons, it was captured by the security mechanisms of England when the plane was flying over French airspace.
Yo.
Wow.
Yo, that's crazy. The message was made in a strictly private environment between the accused and his friends with whom he flew through a private group to which only they have access. So the accused could not even remotely assume that the joke he played on his friends could be intercepted or detected by British services, nor by third parties other than his friends who received the message. See, that's crazy because, like, sometimes you'll say wild shit to your friends in a text message.
Yeah.
For fun, you know, and you're assuming, if I send you an iMessage, you're assuming that that's encrypted.
Yeah, I'm going to stop telling my friends I'm going to murder my girlfriend.
You have to use
Gotta be
Signal.
careful.
You have to use
Yeah.
Signal for that.
Today's the day. I'll say that.
But I bet if you'd have
That's
used Signal,
safer.
I bet they're looking through Signal too. I bet there is a scanning that's being done on all cell phone communication, looking for key target words that they think would be problematic.
Well, think about how much of our freedom we're constantly giving away.
Yeah.
When I fly, I don't want to wait in a long line. So I give them, my iris, my fingerprint, all that stuff. Now
Yeah.
those lines are longer than the other lines, right? So I'm
Are
like,
they?
oh, yeah. If I go to LaGuardia, fucking pre-check and clear are the longest lines now.
No shit.
Yeah. So
So sometimes you just fuck it and you go through the other one?
I take my shoes off again. I'm going backward. But then there's going to probably be a new line. You got to give more. You dip your balls in the fucking thing. You got to give them the outline of your penis. I gave you my penis. You got to let me cut.
Well, you have to have the update and the chip. Do you have your update? You can fly if you have your update.
Did you update your,
brain?
dick?
Did you update
We only
your
have
brain?
your flaccid penis. We need a hard penis.
If you have the brain chip, we'll let you pass through. You don't ever have to worry about identification ever again.
I thought of a new wrinkle for that. They can let you update right there at the airport with some janky terminal that's probably hacked, or you could do it at home like everybody else will probably be doing it. Like when you update.
Yep.
Update from a safe place.
Update from a
But
safe
you forgot,
place.
or you have to do it here, like it's like a subway terminal.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll get to the point where you'll just have an account in your head and you won't have to pay for anything with a credit card ever again. It'll all be an account in your head, but only through central bank digital currency. If you subscribe to central bank digital currency, we can iron out all the inequality and all of the problems of society today.
They'll get us.
They'll get us. They're going to get us with a chip in our head. It's going to be awesome. That's the problem. You're going to put that chip in and you go, God, why was I resisting this? I was so stupid just 20 minutes ago. I'm like, now I get it. I mean, if you imagine, like, you can only imagine being as intelligent as you are on your best or worst days. But could you imagine being like a caveman? Like a Australopithecus, like the early days, just barbaric life, covered in hair.
Yeah.
And then somebody gives you something, just a little shot or something, and all of a sudden you can think like you. You'd be like, whoa, I didn't realize how fucking dumb I was. I think we're going to plug in, and it's going to be whoa, oh my God, this is so much better. This is so much better. This is so much better than regular brains. We're just going to accept the fact that we have access to information constantly. You're seeing it all in your head.
That's just Adderall right now, I think.
Well, it's probably going to be better than Adderall.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be better. If you could have something that stimulates various parts of your brain to produce certain neurochemicals, if that's possible, they're going to be able to do something where people that are paralyzed can use cursors. They can like use their brain to figure out how to navigate computers.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty. But again, it's intrusive, right? I mean, it's your thoughts.
Right. But if you're a paralyzed person, it's a really good thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's way better to be able to do that than not.
That's true.
But once we start doing it too.
Yeah.
Sam, I know you're not paralyzed, but let me tell you the benefits of linking up. And you just start talking to your girlfriend.
It's going to be like Jehovah's Witnesses. They're going to be
thinking
banging
about
on your
linking
door.
up. I mean, my cousin linked up. He's never felt better. He signed a 1-year lease. You link up for 1 year. You can't disconnect or they kill you.
It'll be like Ozempic. You give the linked up people like a year to see how they do, and then you're like, I might link up.
No, it'd be like military service. Like, you have to, if you're going to link up, you have to link up. You have to commit to 1 year because you're contributing to the grid.
Yeah.
You're contributing to the grid of ideas if you link up. So you have to keep it on for 1 year. And most people don't take it off. And if you do take it off, the parts where they screw it in get infected.
Yeah, you're going to have to get a re-up.
You look weird. You're like one of those weird people that just disconnected. We're so close to something like that. This Apple thing that everybody's doing, watching television on a giant movie screen in your house with these goggles on, it's supposed to be incredible.
Well, the thing is, think about how much of your personal freedom, like we all knew these people that were like, I'm not getting a fucking smartphone. I want to be off the grid. And you're like, and then, as you said, they all have the phone now.
Exactly.
They all give in.
Everybody gave in. Yeah.
And by the way, off the grid, a lot of them were comics. I'm like, you're announcing tour dates already.
Yeah, what are you talking
You're
about?
on the grid, dude.
I bought 3 chickens. Yeah, the off the grid, that's called you're a farmer.
Yeah.
And that's a hard
You're
job.
Amish.
Yeah.
More than farmers are probably on the grid somewhere.
You can't just tour if you're a farmer, man.
Yeah.
Your fucking animals are gonna die. You're gonna have employees, and you have to have someone to supervise.
Even the farmers are like, they're on Facebook.
Yeah,
they're doing something.
They're doing something. They're barely paying attention.
Yeah. Shit,
if you
man.
really want to be completely self-sufficient, like, wow. The only reason we can do all the things that we do is because so many other people provide you with the stuff that would take up all your time, which is gathering food, eating it. And that's like most of what you would be doing, trying to find food, eat.
Yeah, hunting is a sport for people. It's not like a thing most people do.
Exactly. I mean, there's a lot of people who do it by choice, but they definitely don't need to.
Yeah.
Most places you can get meat. You can't get that kind of meat. It's not as easy to get that kind of meat. But there's, plenty of other options.
Yeah.
You're not going to starve. The thing is, like, in the real world of that not existing, the food system not existing, you're not going to figure out anything. You're not going to make a car. You're not going to get that out of your head. You're not building a sailboat. Like, all you're doing is gathering food, and you're barely adequate. You're going to do it all day long, and you're barely going to figure it out. And you might start eating rodents that you don't want to eat.
Ugh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is, they don't realize it's a full-time job. And most people have like 3 jobs, by the way, now.
Yep.
Teachers are, slowly getting on OnlyFans. Everyone's doing their thing to make I make handbags on my side, whatever you're doing. Everyone's got like 4 fucking jobs now.
Yeah, the OnlyFans one's a wild one. Whoa. That's a wild thing. Because if
I
I,
mean,
was a
you're making-
21-year-old girl
Yeah.
and just graduated college and I was kind of hot, you know,
It's tough.
I didn't want
If
to
you
be
look
a
at your
waitress.
if you look at your fucking salary as a teacher versus you, like, oh, I just made my whole life
Yeah.
this year.
I mean, I'm not the one to judge. Do whatever you do that makes you happy. But it's just, it's a weird one.
But if you're contributing to OnlyFans, make sure you have the money and you have. Because I have a friend who fucking pays for OnlyFans and he has never seen The Sopranos.
If I was a gal, I would be worried about like dudes becoming obsessed with you from something like that.
But you get that as a comic, don't you?
Yeah, but it's a little bit different. It's a sexual thing,
True.
you know, and you're more vulnerable. It's definitely different. I mean, it's like,
But if you're a female comic, I think they become obsessed with you too.
yeah, that could happen for sure. Oh, definitely, right? Yeah, I mean, Whitney's had a gang of problems. Yeah, that makes sense.
An actress, whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
musician. Taylor
Yep.
Swift's probably got a shitload of stalkers.
Oh, my
I mean,
God, of
so
course
many.
she does.
I mean, you know.
She probably has people that think they're married to her.
Yeah.
You know, just real nuts.
Yeah.
What's that?
I think somebody just got arrested for that.
Yeah.
Did he think he was married to her?
Something.
Those stalkers always think that all of your posts are for them.
Yeah.
They're like,
it's
I see what
most
you're
of them
doing.
They're schizophrenic. That's
Yeah.
what it is. And they believe they have some sort of a connection with you. You know, a lot of them say that they have a chip in their head. It's like a very common thing they say. I've got a chip in my head. Elon Musk talks to me, like that kind of shit. For real. It's like that's a thing that
Yeah.
schizophrenics start believing.
I just read that Elon Musk book. I thought it was pretty interesting. The Walter Isaacson.
No, I didn't.
It's good. He's
Is
the guy.
it an autobiography?
No, it's Walter Isaacson wrote it about Elon Musk.
Oh, it's a biography.
Yeah, yeah. But he did like Jobs and Einstein. He did those books. He's a fucking awesome writer. But yeah, I mean, you know him. I don't know. So I was like, that was an interesting window into like who he is and like how what made him that way. I'm always curious to like the origin story of like bullied kid in Africa. Like interesting life.
Yeah, he's not a normal guy.
You can't be.
He's a very, very unusual person. And when you talk to him, you can tell, like in the back of his brain, his mind is just firing. It's just going all. Like I asked him, I'm like, what is it like to be you? Like, what is it like to have all these? He's like, you wouldn't want to be me.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't seem happy.
He didn't even know that it wasn't normal until he was like an older kid, and he's like, oh, everybody's not like this. Where you just got ideas just fucking bouncing around your head like laser beams, just constantly go. I mean, the guy's running 3 different companies simultaneously, or 4 different companies
Yeah,
simultaneously.
I think at a time he was doing like 5 or 6 too. It's something crazy.
Insane. It's like buys Twitter,
Yeah.
posts on it all the time. I mean, fucking dunks on people, posts memes, you know, gets people mad at him, and then is also running SpaceX and is also running Tesla and is also running the Boring Company. Like, what the fuck, man?
He it's having similar characteristics of like a degenerate gambler to be that successful in business like that, because you have to be willing to go all in all the time.
Well, he's one of the very few people that's like the head of a business like that. That's also, you know, he's an extraordinary human in terms of like the way his mind functions. It's not a normal person.
No way. No, you don't get to that level.
There's none of those other guys that run a lot of the companies that are run by CEOs. You know, you remember when that guy was running Microsoft, the bomber guy that would jump around and scream? It's one of my all-time favorite videos because it's so insane.
Yeah.
It's all Microsoft employees, and Steve Ballmer gets out there and he goes nuts. I mean, nuts. Like to the point of almost having a fucking heart attack. Oh, they're all dancing.
Now he owns the Clippers.
This is a different one. This is when they were all just dancing together, which is also hilarious. Who told them that this was okay? Who told them that this is okay? If I was their friends, I would have said, guys, don't do this.
The Rolling
Don't do
Stones are
this.
like, can you stop using our music?
It
You're making
doesn't
it
make
look.
any sense. You're on a stage,
Yeah.
you're well lit, and you're dancing publicly. You're going to be so awkward. Let's not do this.
But a lot of these guys were
This is it.
pariahs their entire childhood. So this is like their chance. This is their first set.
Put this back
so
to
to
the
speak.
beginning. Put it back to the beginning. Look at him.
Yeah.
Look at him. Look at this. This is insanity. This is insane. He's software. Imagine you're in business with these guys. You're like, oh my god, we're in business with maniacs.
Well, this is either getting you fired the fuck up, or you're like, I'm out. You know?
He's laughing though. But this is where it gets corn. Ready for this? Here we go.
I got 4 words for you. I love this company. Yeah!
Brutal.
It's amazing.
You don't get to say yeah after your thing, though.
Hey man, that's the kind of guy I want running my company. That
He
dude's-
seems like a great owner
he's
for the Clippers.
All in.
He's super
He's-
sweaty.
That's what I was
all
saying.
in.
I remember this video.
He goes nuts. But that's like part of his act. You know, his
Yeah.
act is that he would go nuts. You know, it was fun. So if you're going to have to do those kind of things where you go out in front of all the fucking employees and dance around.
fun. He's having
why not
fun.
go nutty?
Yeah.
Why not go nutty? Then people will talk about it forever.
Yeah. Can I do a drink by any chance?
Yes, now it's the
What-
time.
Yeah, now's the time.
Now's the time, Sam.
Whatever you got.
We got whiskey. I'll give you glasses. But...
All right. Well, yeah, whatever you
There
got.
we go. That's what I wanted to hear. Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of guy you want running your dominating software company that's constantly getting shut down for anti-competitive practices.
It's so weird, though. I feel
They
like
didn't get
other
shut
guys...
down. They did get sued a bunch of times, right? Didn't they get? What happened with Microsoft? Like there was a bunch of they had a gang of lawsuits when Jamie comes back. We'll try to figure it out. There was
It's a different leadership style than like a Musk or a Steve Jobs,
Right,
or a guy
right.
who's like
Can you
those
imagine
dudes.
Steve Jobs doing that?
But it's like those dudes are much more like fuck you, deliver, like, you know, driving you insane.
Right.
This dude seems like a more friendly
Yeah, it looked
boss.
like he's having a good time.
But-
He was definitely screaming, but it looked like he was smiling.
But like Jobs and Musk, I feel like they will put you to your breaking point doing shit you didn't think you could accomplish, and you either break or you do something insane.
Yeah, I've heard that about both of them. But I guess just grab anyone. That one's good, Jamie. The one your right hand. They're
Yeah,
both
looks
good.
good.
Or the Buffalo Trace good too. Put that up.
Yeah, whatever you got.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like I don't want to do that. I don't want to work
No.
like that. You want to work like that? That's great. But you know, maybe I should get a different job. This is just. I'm not gonna sleep in the office.
It's too much.
I got kids. I gotta go. Bye. Thank you. Thanks for the job. You know, it should be. You should be able to actually have a job in our
Cheers,
life.
by the way.
Cheers, my brother. I don't run a business though. I mean, I kind of do, but
You have employees. You run a business.
I do, but not that way. It's not
No.
the same kind of thing.
Well, I mean,
It's a
think of
different
those
kind
scenes in Wolf of
business.
Wall Street, the way where he's like,
Yeah.
ah,
Yeah.
and you're like, all right,
I'm not going anywhere.
yeah, good scene.
What a great scene. DiCaprio's an animal.
I was on TV the other day. That's a great fucking movie.
Oh my God, it's a great movie. That's a fun movie.
He's like, it's rare for like actors to have mystique. He still kind of has some mystique. I feel
He's
like.
an animal. He's
Yeah.
so good, man. He's so
Yeah.
good. He in so many movies too, man. In so many different types of characters, and just there's so few of those guys that are just like the last of the real motherfucker movie stars. You know,
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio's a motherfucker of a movie star.
He is.
Like when he's screaming at you and his face is red, you're like, dude,
Yeah.
he's good. Dude.
Did you watch Killers of the Flower Moon?
I didn't love it.
I did not.
I didn't love it. I love the book. I think the book is incredible. My issue with the movie is like they focus on the wrong characters. The guy he's playing, Ernest Burkhart, is a boring fucking idiot. Like he should have been playing or give Jesse Plemons as the PI a bigger role.
I didn't see it, so I can't comment.
one of the best books.
What was the premise of the book? I started the book quite a while ago, and I never got into it.
Oh,
for
get
whatever
back to it.
reason.
You'll love it.
Okay.
It's one of the best because it's like true crime and history in one. It's kind of incredible.
This is what happened, dude. I got really bummed out because I kind of overdosed on Native American history. Yeah, it was a bummer.
Yeah.
You know, and it was so. First of all, it's an amazing history and it's fascinating, and I'm
Yeah.
really connected to it being here because like we find arrowheads. Like my friend of mine gave me this. And then another friend
Oh,
of
wow.
mine just gave me 4 arrowheads from this ranch from Uvalde, Texas. Shout out to them.
Yeah.
And these are over 1,000 years old. These arrowheads.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Like this whole land is all Comanche land. This really is.
Yeah.
But these stories are so depressing. They're so heart-wrenching. When you realize that they had been living that way for who knows how many thousands of years. And then over the period, a short amount of time, like a couple of 100 years, 90% of them are gone.
Yeah.
90%
Just dropping
of them,
dead.
Just dropping dead from diseases.
Yeah.
And then everybody else is eventually herded off into camps, and they're put on these reservations. And the when you hear the stories of what they did to the kids in the schools,
Yeah.
you know, and when you hear the stories of the battles and these people just getting wiped out, you're like, holy shit. Could you imagine living in a place, and you've been living off the land in these houses that you make out of animal skins, and you travel with your family, and you've always traveled like this, and then all of a sudden these motherfuckers start coming from another country, and they don't stop coming. Like your land got infected, it got invaded. They landed on the east and just started going across the country. And you just watched your whole life go away.
Yeah.
You watched them shoot all the buffalo. You watched them shoot all the buffalo. That was like 100 years from buffalo everywhere to no buffalo.
Yeah. Now it's just Buffalo Wild Wings. It's nothing. No.
They saved him. The Ken Burns documentary is amazing. There's a new Ken Burns documentary on PBS right now about the American buffalo.
Yeah, it's he's great.
He's amazing. It's a really good documentary series.
I just think like that movie. I love Scorsese and everyone involved. It's just like it should have been. Also, if you make a 3.5 hour movie, dude, you got to leave with not being like, what else?
I can't comment. Like I said, I didn't see it.
I love everyone involved, honestly, but it was just like for me, like that's a book that they should have. I think he got criticized for saying something like, I was telling it from the white man's perspective, and you're like, well, you are a white guy, like that is your perspective, probably, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that, but. I just think he chose the wrong white guy. Like the PI, that guy's real life. I forgot his name. You could probably find it, but I mean, holy shit! This guy, like, he was like the CIA, fucking J. Edgar, FBI rather.
J. Edgar Hoover.
Yeah, treated him like shit because he wasn't like he wanted the the vibe to be college boys, like Harvard educated, and he wasn't that. So he always was like didn't show him any respect. Yeah, this is the guy he played. Tom White, very interesting guy.
Scroll down, scroll higher. What is
and
the
his brother
full,
was.
What is it? What does the article say? The full.
This is just like fact or fiction about the movie.
Yeah.
I just know what happened.
The guy Leo played is just like a dumb fuck who kind of went along. It just was a character I didn't think had a lot of depth. It's like just spending 3.5 hours with a guy who's like going along with murder and is kind of dumb.
That is a weird thing they do when they take what is an actual piece of history and have someone play. Like when
Inspired by real events.
Sofia Vergara is playing
Griselda
Blanco, which is insanity.
Yeah.
Fucking insanity. Like what? She's like one of the hottest human beings that's ever lived.
Got to sell tickets.
She's playing.
Yeah.
She's playing this lady that was a psychopath and a murderer.
Yeah.
They just do things like that in movies. They'll monkey with the past if they think it's better this way.
Or they ugg up a hot guy instead of
Yes.
just getting a fucking weird looking actor.
Yep. They ugg up a hot guy.
Or Charlize
they
Theron.
pretend the guy was hot.
She won an award for being ugly in Monster.
Yeah, but she actually pulled it off.
She's great, but it's
Shaved
just funny.
her eyebrows.
But they could have gotten an uglier actress.
It's a good point.
There's
Solid point.
There's hot privilege.
Solid point. It's a really solid point. But she also had famous actress privilege.
For sure. And that's right. That's as I said, you want to sell tickets.
Famous actress privilege trumps everything because
For
they
sure.
sell tickets.
For sure.
Yeah. So if she decides to get fat for the movie, give her a shot at it. Come on. You're going to say she can't do it, but Robert De Niro can do it? But
Yeah.
She was so good in that movie, too.
Yeah.
And she went back to hot again,
She's hot.
which is crazy because how many women out there look like Charlize Theron did in Monster who could actually, with the right diet plan, pull it together?
Well, it's
and
weird.
start looking like her.
Some people starve. Like I don't know, Christian Bale just like is that can't be healthy what he does to his body all the time.
Well, what he did in that movie, The Machinist, is dangerous. It's
Yeah.
dangerous. Yeah. McConaughey did the same thing in
but
Dallas
his face
Buyers
looks
Club.
fucking skinny
He was
still.
lighter or less weight, I should say, in The Fighter, which was after the. Or no, this says
The Fighter's good.
I saw another like picture.
He
that
got
said he was
more
lighter.
skinny in that when he played
It
Mickey
was-
Ward's brother.
I should say it now that it wasn't an
Dickie
official source.
something,
It was
right?
just
Yeah,
a
Dickie
meme.
Betts.
It was a meme that showed their weight, so it might
Well,
not have been accurate.
oh, 66 kilograms, and that was 55 kilograms.
This can't be healthy. though,
No,
to
no,
keep
no.
doing
It's
this.
real bad. It's real bad. It's real dangerous. Super, super dangerous.
But De Niro got shredded in the, Raging Bull and
Yeah, but
Cape
that's
Fear.
shredded is okay, but
It's
that
different.
he's starving to death there. That's why he's so thin. Like
can't
when he
be
did
fun.
no. It's very, 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 very dangerous. It's dangerous for your heart. It's dangerous for your organs. It's dangerous for your kidneys. It's dangerous for everything. It's very, 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 very dangerous to
Yeah.
do that, and so unnecessary for a movie that was mid. That movie was just not that good. That movie
Yeah.
wasn't Ex
I didn't even see
Machina. It wasn't
Ex
a
Machina sick.
woo. It's a sick
Talking
movie.
about AI.
But you know what I'm saying? If you
Yeah.
get skinny for that because she left you in that box with nothing but water, and they
Yeah.
come back and they're like, that's remember like when
Yeah.
at the end of the movie when he gets spoiler alert when he
Yeah.
gets stuck in there and
Yeah.
she just walks away,
Killer.
bro. How far away from that?
Yeah, she was
Not
pretty
far.
hot robot.
Oh, she was so hot.
Well, do you
I
think you
was
would ever fuck a robot?
100%.
Yeah, me too.
If it was her, if she was talking to me like that,
I think I would fuck a
I'd
robot.
give her a go. I'd see what it is. Especially if I'm some scientist dork on an island somewhere, and there's
Yeah.
a hot robot that I'm supposed to interact with, and she knows how to press my buttons.
I'm working on a bit on stage, which is like we're gonna fuck robots, but I think it's gonna be like a cell phone. Like everyone's gonna need a robot, but like if you're poor, you're gonna have like a lower level model. Like maybe while you're fucking it, you get ads.
You know what it's going to be like.
Yeah, liberty,
Robot-
liberty, liberty.
It's going to be like robot women are real women. That's what it's going
Yeah.
to be like. That's what it's going to be
Wow.
like. That's what's going to happen.
Holy shit.
Robot women are real women. That's what it's going to be like. And these
Yeah.
fucking sociopaths with batteries in them are going to just start running shit.
Yeah.
They have no fear.
She's a hot robot.
She's so hot, dude. And once they put the skin on her and, she looks normal, the movie was so good.
Yeah, it was good.
One of
man.
my all-time favorites. I've watched that so many times on planes when I'm like going through my laptop. I'm
It's-
like, what do I got on here?
I like a
I
good
download
psychological thriller with three characters. So it's almost more like a play. It's like all dialogue heavy and just fucking like that could have been a play.
Yeah. And it's so fascinating watching this kid trying to work all this out. Like work out that he got this opportunity, work out that he's there. He was so who's the actor?
Dom Hall Gleason, isn't that him?
Perfectly awkward. Everything about him, his origin story,
Yeah.
everything. Perfectly
fucking awesome.
vulnerable. And when he gets stuck at the end of the movie, you're like, oh my God, that's real.
Because
That's
you
real.
kind of know it's coming, but you also kind of want to believe a little bit. Yeah.
Just because a baby deer is cute doesn't mean the mountain lion won't get it. That's the problem.
He got fucking.
We think
he
he's
got
a
got.
good guy. He's a good guy. He's doing the right thing. And then him banging on the glass and you don't hear a sound. You're like, oh my God, you're going to die in there.
Yeah.
You're going to die in there.
A24 makes a lot of cool
Look at this.
shit. Yeah.
Just banging on it and knowing you ain't putting a fucking dent in it. You are going nowhere forever.
I like.
When she just shoves the knife in him.
I love un-Hollywood endings, dude. I love when they don't give the people, and a lot of those movies bomb because people want a happy ending. Like I think one of Woody Allen's best movies ever is Purple Rose of Cairo, and it's a fucking downer of an ending. And I think that's probably why it's one of his biggest bombs.
You know what it's going to be like? You can have a robot and you can have a robot for a wife. But that robot for a wife, if she catches you doing anything, if you do anything that's illegal,
Yeah.
you get a red light code and she detains you. Because your robot wife is stronger than you. And you could fuck this really hot robot wife and she looks like just a really hot woman.
We're all going to be subs.
Super sexy. But what she really is a murderous robot capable of pulling your fucking head right off your body.
How far are we from robot wars then? Like we'll have American robots versus
We're already
Russian
doing it with
robots.
drones.
That's true.
What is a missile?
That's a good
What's
point.
a guided missile? It's kind of a robot.
Yeah,
What's
but
those
it's like
supersonic?
But
guided
drone veterans
missiles?
are fucking not as cool as actual on-the-ground war veterans.
No, they're definitely not. But do you know that they suffer from a very specific type of PTSD?
They probably should. They're killing people.
Yeah. And you imagine watching that on a screen. Like,
But your
what did I
scars are
just
not
do?
from being on the battlefield. They're from tripping over like a fucking router or something. It's a different type of PTSD.
It's definitely a different type of PTSD, but apparently they're haunted.
Yeah.
They're haunted. Like they.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
You're playing God. Mm-hmm. You're killing people.
And you're doing it a weird way where you're watching a screen. So you're kind of like, it's familiar. It's like a video game.
Yeah.
And you got to imagine if you see those kids that are like really good at World of Warcraft and all that shit.
I was just thinking Call of Duty. But
Call of Duty, yeah, Quake, any of those games that require fast twitch, if you give them a responsive enough interface and some sort of insane weapon, they could do fucking damage.
Yeah,
you get like a really good video game player.
Isn't that funny?
Teach
That's who
them
they're
how to
going to
use
recruit
weapons
for the next war?
100%.
Not your strongest, but your quickest fingers.
Think about it, man. I mean, if you're watching like there's some games that are like, I don't know how to play StarCraft, but I guess it's more like strategy and moving things around. It's not fast twitch, but there's a lot of these games like the third-person shooter or first-person shooters. Yeah, Halo, Unreal's another one, Quake, where you're moving fast, you're gunning things down. You know, it's like, if you can get a person who is elite at that, where they just wipe out, there's certain guys that they'll have these death matches, and these certain guys that will literally wipe out 60% of the other team.
Yeah,
they're just so good at fucking people up. They're so good at it. If you could get that guy to somehow or another pilot a drone, and if it's that responsive that it allows him to instantaneously move the thing and it's shooting real guns, he'll fucking kill everybody. He'll fucking kill everybody. It'll be insane.
Instead of like an incel, now you're like a war hero.
Right. Think about those Quake characters. Jamie, pull up like Quake Arena. What's the newest one? What is the newest one? The one that we all got addicted to again? Champions. Quake Champions. If you're actually doing this in the real world, now imagine you're attached to some sort of a machine. You're using all of these like remote controls that you would use on an Xbox. You're totally familiar with it, so it's totally tuned to your need. On the other end of it, there's a fucking robot with chain guns running into a military complex and gunning people down. And you're controlling this thing while it's getting dinged up. You're in another place. This thing can fly. It shoots through the air. And you just try it on people in Yemen. Just try it. And you have this fucking guy, a guy who can do this. Like, watch this game. Imagine if you can move a thing that moves like this and has this kind of weaponry. We can switch it back and forth between different weapons.
I mean, this is making me dizzy how good this guy is.
Look how good this guy is. Just fuck that dude up. Yeah, you're dead, bitch. Up, you're dead, bitch, too.
Because then this would actually be like,
dead,
this wouldn't be a waste of time. This would be training. Because I think about it all the time about how like this is different. It's like lasers and shit. But I think like some of the war games, you're just like, or GTA, like they're fun as hell. But like, what do you do when you play GTA? I have friends that are just going on, they're just murdering random people on the sidewalk. I'm like, at a certain point, this is not great for your brain. Do you know what I mean?
It's not great for your brain, but it's no different than golf. It's a thing that people get really good at and super hyper competitive at. It's no different than any
It's
of
in
those
between
other
golf
things.
and porn. Because you watch porn for 2 minutes, you're like, I don't feel great about myself.
Yeah, but
it's not real, but like you're simulating something in your head real.
But is that our head? There is that for sure. But if something like that is really valuable, like if you're making a lot of money doing that, which what is like the most money?
A Twitch streamer or something?
Yeah.
Some of them are like
they make a lot of money, right? Yeah. Like millions, right? So who could argue against that? Like, Billy, you need to get your law degree so that you can be a partner and you can fucking work weekends and 17-hour days and make a small fraction of what you would do with a blue wig on and fucking the Terminator sunglasses. Screaming at people.
Is it any different than being
internet.
a comedian?
It's not much different.
Because you're kind of like, well, this is not a real job in my mind. But if you're in the top 1%, yeah, you could do pretty fucking well.
Man's worst enemy, killer robot dogs that are controlled by soldiers' minds are trialed by Australian army. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this is that Quake thing. We're not far away from that.
Yeah, it's all. Oh, look at that thing.
But if you can make millions of dollars playing Quake, why wouldn't you just play Quake?
Exactly.
It's like we think of it's bad because it used to be bad. We got to get over that idea.
I think same goes for OnlyFans. It's your fucking body, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
well, listen, I'm a fan of people doing whatever the fuck they want, and I think there's a lot of pressure from people shaming people and people getting upset at other people's choices. Like, worry about yourself. You'd be way better off if you worry about yourself. You know.
A lot of times it is your own issues with that, right? Like for me, like. You know, I don't think everyone should go to therapy, but I think some people could benefit from talking out loud and looking at themselves, you know?
What do you mean by that?
I think people who are judging other people's lives.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean? What do I mean by
Just
that?
fucking around.
Oh, I thought you said
Just fucking around.
Oh.
No. Yeah, no, for sure. It's just
I just think sometimes if you're really mad about something that doesn't affect you in any way, that's probably your shit.
it's 100% your shit because you're wasting time.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry about that.
There's types of really religious people who are into charity and love and
Yep.
and not judging people. And there's people who are really religious who are like, you're going to hell.
Yep. There's good cops and bad cops.
Yeah.
It's really the same thing. It's just human beings at all levels. There's just such a variety of people, and we lump them all into the same thing. That's why it gets so offensive when someone, just wants to like single out one specific swath of people that's responsible for everything. Like, no, we're still individuals, man.
Yeah.
We still have to be individuals. This idea that everybody has to pretend that they're on a special team that's an opposed to the opposite gender or the opposite sexual orientation. Like, shut the fuck up. That's so fake.
And it doesn't really affect you.
And you know where you know it's fake?
Where?
The comedy world.
What do you mean?
Because in the comedy world, no one gives a fuck what you do. You just have to be funny.
Well, if you care about comedy, funny is your language.
It's all
right?
it's all that we care about.
Yeah.
Like, I love Tim Dillon to death.
Yeah.
The fact that he's a gay man, first of all, I don't believe it. I think it's a scam. I've never seen him have sex with guys.
I've never heard
until
a gay
I do.
guy with that voice.
He's one of the funniest human beings that's
I
ever
love
lived.
him.
That's
Yeah.
what's important. No one gives a shit if he's gay. Like, no one gives a fuck. No one gives a fuck if you're trans, if you're funny. No one gives a fuck if you're Asian, if you're Bobby Lee. No one cares.
Yeah.
All they care is, are you cool to be around? Are you
First
funny?
two I was cool with.
That's
Asian
it.
is a bridge too far, I think. But no, I'm with you. Like, we don't care. Comedy is a weirdly accepting place. That's why it's funny that we get considered like, they're like, this is a dude's club. Like, no, we want to be around funny if you care about comedy.
It's just harder for women. The
Well,
women
because of the
that-
road. That's why
Yes.
it's harder for women.
The road's dangerous.
The road is dangerous.
It's creepy.
I mean, especially when you're starting out and you have to stay in like a comedy condo and shit.
100%. Yeah.
That is where women really have it harder, I think. So,
Well, that's one aspect of it, but also even just the act of stand-up. Like, when you're going on stage and you're a woman and you're starting to talk about politics,
Yeah.
you're going to get a certain percentage of the guys in the audience like, that guy that was doing this with you,
Yeah.
he was doing that because of a woman,
Yeah.
right? He was do you know how bad it would be if an actual woman was on stage and she's saying, and the girl wants to be there? Like, come
Yeah.
on, she's really funny. Let's go see her. You'll laugh at a woman. Women are capable of being funny, Greg. And they said, and then Greg gets a little drunk. He's like, boo. And now you're intimidated.
instead of boo, they're yelling, show your tits.
What if this guy's going to punch
It's
me?
worse.
Yeah, it could be show your tits.
It's worse.
It could be a lot worse. And it's like, so there's a certain amount of men that are going to be prejudiced about what you talk about. Like,
Yeah.
you're not allowed to talk about politics. Don't fucking tell me who the fucking real president is.
They'll do that with any comic.
Yeah,
But I think
right.
with women, they get unfairly condemned for like
Yep.
sex jokes.
Sex jokes.
Well, I'm
Because you're a
like,
slut. Oh, look at her. She's a slut.
no, a lot
Right.
of jokes are about sex. Sex is
Right.
The way they use violence in a movie because it's extreme. We use sex as a punchline sometimes.
Also, when a woman tells a joke about sex, if a guy in the audience is like, yeah,
He got horny from the joke.
yeah,
No,
that-
you're right.
Right, that's creepy. That's possible. If a man is on stage and he tells a sex joke and a woman goes, yeah, you're like, look at this crazy bitch.
I love
like,
her.
immediately
Yeah.
you got to diffuse it. It's not a threat. So it's
Exactly.
a completely different dynamic. So that part is more dangerous. It's more dangerous to be sexual. It's more dangerous to be vulnerable.
Late nights walking home in a random city.
Yep.
I mean, I was attacked on the road once. I can't think like,
How'd you get attacked?
I was at a bar right after the gig in Vermont, and some guy walked up to me and he goes, University of Vermont? And I was like, no. And he goes, master's degree? And I said, you're getting colder. And he just looked at me and he goes, I'm going to beat the shit out of all of you, to me and like 3 people I was with. And I just kind of like shrugged it off. I'm like, he's drunk. I'm ignoring him. So I turned around. He takes a pint glass and smashes it over my head.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And he ends up running out. They called the cops on him. I was all right. Honestly, this sounds ridiculous, but I had a Jufro at the time, and it did provide some support for my head. It really did help. And he runs for it. The cops get him. He went for one of the cops' guns.
Oh, Jesus
But
Christ.
he was in a blackout. They
shoot him?
No, they didn't. And
Were you upset about that?
No, I don't want him to die.
What were you rooting for? A wound? A foot wound?
I was look
Shoot him in the ankle?
a little police brutality. I would have been okay with.
It's just above the knee. Bang.
But they arrest him. I get a call. They're like, "Hey, we're with the victim's advocate or whatever from Vermont," and they said, "Yeah, that was a therapist. He was in a blackout. He's going through a divorce."
The therapist?
Yeah, the guy who hit me was a therapist. And therapists, a lot of therapists are fucking insane. I used to date a therapist. She was removed from my show earlier this year. Whoa. Yeah, I mean, a lot of them are a little cuckoo.
Well, that's like L. Ron Hubbard. He was like trying to self-diagnose.
Well, it always starts good with these guys. Same with Jim Jones. They always start nice,
Yes.
and then it ends up at a place where you're like, you believe the fucking, for lack of a better word, you drink your own Kool-Aid, right?
Exactly.
And I mean, L. Ron Hubbard, Jim Jones, anyone you want to fuck. A lot of crazy people are very intelligent. Ted Bundy, I mean, not Ted Bundy, Kaczynski, very smart guy.
Oh yeah, he was really smart.
A lot of these, and Ted Bundy was probably pretty fucking smart too.
Yeah, in a creepy way.
Creepy as fuck.
Just because you're smart doesn't mean you're nice.
Of course not.
You could be a real monster.
Totally.
Or be super intelligent.
But like, a lot of therapists, just because like you're a therapist doesn't mean you're not fucking insane.
Right, you could be insane.
So they asked me if I want to fly
The whole reason
back.
why you got involved in it could be because you're insane.
And you want to read people.
Yeah.
And you can read people well, and you can manipulate people. I mean,
There's
it
a
is.
therapist that convinced her patient to kill her ex. So she convinced her patient to kill her ex.
That's like a great movie premise.
Yeah, no, it's real.
That's
See if you can
crazy.
find that story, Jamie. I know I saved it. I can find it if you can't. But this therapist talked this guy. She talked this guy into killing her ex.
That's fucked up.
Like, oh, she kill him. I'm gonna suck your cock. You know, like he was telling her stories. He was telling her his stories, and she was telling him she loved him, and you know, something happened.
Something kind of hot about that.
Something
though.
hot, fucking hot as shit. Look, everybody died.
Female therapists
Here it
can be
is.
really hot.
Counselor attempts to enlist patient in her plot to have her ex-husband murdered. Cynthia Guy. Wait a minute. Is that her? Is that Cynthia?
The nerve of
Kinda
these people
hot, like an
charging
old lady.
$250 an hour and then trying to get you involved in this shit.
Cynthia Guy wanted her ex-husband dead, but her patient teamed with investigators to take her down. Oh, the patient's a snitch. That's why you don't get any good crazy pussy.
This season 6 of Fargo
A
right here.
deal's
This
a
is
deal,
good.
dude. A deal is a deal.
That's
You know, you shoot my ex. I said, God, come on. You should have taken it. What are you going to do, dude? The rest of your life, you're going to go, what would have happened if I shot that guy?
There's something hot about fucking a therapist, though. It's like fucking the teacher. It's like they're in a position of power over you.
Right.
Most porn is fucking people you shouldn't be fucking.
There's the real power struggle. It's like, when do we get to fuck? Before I kill your ex or after?
I'd
'Cause
like
I
one
need
for the
to
road.
know. I need
Yeah.
to know for sure you're really on this program.
Dude, I 100%.
You know how many guys? Just imagine. Okay, Sofia Vergara. We're talking about her.
Yeah.
Imagine someone, not her, of course, because that would be offensive. But imagine someone who looks exactly like her.
Yeah.
And she's trying to convince you to kill some terrible, terrible, terrible person. And if you do, she's gonna suck your cock.
Yeah. Do I have to take a picture,
more
though?
recent version of the
Another
story.
one. New Jersey therapist asked patient to help her find a hitman and attack her ex.
Wow. You know what I would say if my therapist You know what I would say if my therapist said this to me? I'd say, this is my time that I pay for. Why are you talking to me about killing your fucking
I would
husband?
say keep talking. What kind of deal are we talking about? Depends on who I am.
Yeah.
If it's me right now, yeah, I'd be like, this is crazy talk. I'm
I'm
really
turned
busy.
on and I
Yeah,
have an
but I
erection,
gotta
but
go.
I'd like you to
But
stop.
I gotta go. But
I'm
if it
going
was-
to jerk off in your bathroom.
But if I was 24-year-old me, I might kill that dude. I might
Dude.
fucking strangle that guy.
There's that movie about this. You ever see that movie To Die For with Nicole Kidman? It's a great movie.
Oh, yeah.
Buck Henry wrote it, who wrote The Graduate.
yeah.
And she gets a young Joaquin Phoenix to murder her husband. She's his teacher. It's kind of hot, though.
Bro, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. There's crazy human beings that happen to have vaginas.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a real thing,
Sure.
and to ignore that is just as crazy as to say that anybody who says they're trans can use the women's room, because both of those things are equally crazy.
Why can't I think anyone can be crazy. I think if anything
100%.
that's inclusive.
But there was a time where that was really shunned. That
Well,
kind
there are
of
women,
thinking.
there are men who gaslight women and call them crazy when they're the ones manipulating them.
100%.
So I think that's where that comes from. But like, doesn't mean a woman can't be crazy.
It 100%. But it also does mean the guys will say a woman's crazy if they're trying to gaslight them.
Totally.
That's true too.
It's lazy. Point out why they're crazy. Don't just use that. Like show, give some examples.
Right. It's inept. It's
It
not
is.
effective. Because lazy is easy to counter. Like, no, you're lazy. Like now you're playing fucking pickleball. No, you're lazy. It's like this is stupid.
Yeah.
The correct thing is to say exactly why what you're doing is lazy and what you think is actually behind that thinking.
Yeah.
And the way
be
you behave.
constructive.
Yeah, be constructive. Or just be communicative to the point of like saying, I have a real issue with this. And I don't want to play stupid games.
Yeah.
So either we're nice to each other or we're never going to be nice to each other anymore because I'm going to go away. Like, I'm not interested in, arguing about dumb shit that shouldn't really be something
Most
that
shit
anybody
you argue
argues
about is dumb shit. Every time I'm in an argument, I'm like, this is fucking dumb. It's because here's what it should be. One of you says something that bothers you, and the other person, if you love them, you should just be like, all right.
100%. There's no...
Why you fight? When you see couples fighting in public, I'm like, yeah, you two should not probably be together.
Yeah.
Especially if you're calling each other, like, I used to have neighbors who would scream at each other in ways where I'd be like, this is not healthy for either of you.
No, I never do that. I can't scream and I can't say names. I just can't do it. I don't want to do that. I don't ever want to do that in my life. And I think it's a dangerous area to get to. Because I think if you're screaming at each other and calling each other names and saying mean shit to each other, you're real close to violence.
Yeah.
You're on violence's door. And, if there's any like one constant in my life, it's been like avoid violence at all costs.
Yeah.
Other than like competition. But avoid because that's kind of different. That's like I'm trying to figure out myself. That's like what like martial arts competition is about. You're really trying to figure out how far you can go and how good you can get at this. But like real world violence at all costs. Fuck your ego. Get out of there.
Yeah, it's not worth it. None of it's worth it.
Get
Sometimes
out.
in the moment you think it's fuck. I mean, I got into a fight with a guy in the park the other day because it was like me and my
Fist
friend.
fight?
No, we were exchanging words. It didn't get physical, thank God. But no, we were arguing because they were like all these skater kids and they just kept coming through our basketball court. And I was like, guys, come on. Like, we're not going in your area. Could you just stop coming here? And he goes, skaters were here first. I'm like, oh, great. Now this is like the Middle East. We're fucking arguing about like, dude, just let us have it. And then it kind of escalated. And I was like, hey, man, I don't want to argue. And he was like, me neither. I was like, all right, good.
That's good.
But you get the wrong guy. You're like, fuck.
Oh, yeah. Well, so there's
Stupid.
guys who look for things like that.
Yeah.
Especially guys who know how to fight a little bit. And they'll just decide.
They want to show off a
Yeah,
little.
they want to show off. And they want to tee off on your face.
Yeah.
Especially if they come from abused backgrounds or their dad beat them or something like that.
Yeah.
Those are fucking dangerous people because they're
Bad dads,
so
dude.
used to violence. They're so used to violence that violence to them is like first choice. They're ready to like smack you because people have been smacking them their whole life.
My biological father was just distant, so I'm like, I think I'm passive because of that. I don't want to argue even. I like shrink kind of. I'm not that, but I think if you had an abusive dad, yeah, you're gonna want to fucking throw down probably.
Yeah, there's a fine line with every interaction. Like, how much could this interaction have been different if I approached it different?
Right.
How much of it could have been avoided if I was less defensive, or if I was more friendly and disarming, or if I was just more careful with my words. How much could I have manipulated this conversation or massaged this conversation? And, that's a thing you always have to think about when it comes to like two people that don't know each other interacting with each other, especially if they're drunk. Like after a show or something like that.
I hate bad drunks because I think I'm not a bad drunk. That's at a certain age.
I'm a happy drunk.
Me too. I'm a nice drunk. I will deny that I'm drunk when I'm drunk. That's the one thing that's like I will literally come home shit faced and I'm like, I had one drink.
Dude, if you wake me up at 4 a.m, I'll swear I was already awake.
I won't. I don't know why I lie.
No, I was
It's
awake.
the only lie I'll tell.
That's my
is that I'm
my
not
lie.
drunk.
My lie is I was asleep. I wasn't asleep. That's my lie.
Why?
I don't know, man. I wish I knew. It's like there's an answer in there somewhere. But that's the one time I will definitely lie. If you not really. Most of the time I'll probably tell the truth now. But like in my life, how many times have I lied when someone called and woke me up? Like 99% of the time. Like I'm always like, no, I'm awake. What's up?
I've gotten better at this shit. Like I've gotten better at saying because I was at a Knicks game with my girl the other night and like I was screaming at the ref, and she was like, "You're fucking drunk," and I was like, "Yeah, you watched me drink. Like what? I don't know why that's surprised. You saw me, and I was yelling at him as this funny NBA ref. He's like, this guy Tony Brothers. He's like a funny ref. So I'm like, you stink. You're the worst ref. And he just looks around. He gives me one of these, like, just like annoyed. He's got a funny like face. He's a very sarcastic ref. So. But yeah, no, I've gotten better at admitting it. But for years, I was like, I'm not drunk. It came from just being a kid and coming home drunk, and my mom being furious at me.
And just learning how to be like a good drunk actor.
My parents would lock the door, so I would just keep hitting the doorbell. My face passed out half against the door, so they'd open it, and I'd fall flat on my face.
How old were you?
I was like 16, probably. But I remember I was just puking my guts out, and my mom would. She doesn't know how to deal with a drunk. My mom doesn't drink, so she would come in and bring me chamomile tea as I'm puking. I'm like.
Perfect.
Yeah, this'll solve it.
That'll do it. You got any zucchinis back there? Zucchini. Serve with it. The fucking give me, lady.
Tea. She didn't know. She was just trying to help.
That's so insane.
But no, I mean, I can't stand bad drunks because
they're terrible.
I don't mind like if you're just a little sloppy, but if you're like an aggressive drunk, man, there's something. I got no time for that shit.
And it's always like, how much do I have invested in you? Like, how much do I know you? Like, I really know you, and it's just an off night, and like, you're all right, dude. Don't worry about it. You give him a hug, and you go, bro, you were crazy. You're trying to fight cops.
Exactly.
And
that's the
like,
thing,
no,
too.
Was I really? Yeah, you tried to fight a cop, man. Come on.
Well, that's the thing. I'm compassionate because I drink. So if someone's badly behaved, I'm like, hey, I'm usually, as long as they're not like a huge asshole, I don't want people kicked out of my shows ever. So I'm very gentle with that. But at the same time, I think people, I remember a guy threw a fucking bottle at David Tell's head, and he was just like, I think he gave the guy's friend bail money for the guy.
Jesus Christ.
Because he's that fucking nice.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I'm not
That's
that
amazing.
nice.
No,
but,
I'm not that nice.
You threw a bottle at my head.
Yeah, the Comedy Store in the dark days of like the 90s, the Comedy Store was totally unpoliced.
I hate that.
And there was no crowd control. It was terrible. And it was not good, but it was good. Because it was like working out at Kronk Gym where they kept the temperature at like 98 degrees all the time. And it was so hard to work there. But you go on the road and you're like at the Improv in Fort Lauderdale and you're fucking slaying. Your shit's tight because you're dealing with animals. Also, you have the ability to flow if something happens in the crowd. You know, if something happens, you're so accustomed to things going sideways.
Yeah.
We're Comedy Store, like the Comedy Store 90s comedians, you know, and I count Diaz in one of those, were constantly involved in these chaotic shows. They were nuts, man. They were nuts. People would pile in there.
But it makes you who you are.
Makes you who you are. It's not easy. That was a hard room. It was really loud. The hallway was really loud. People were always out there in the hallway yelling.
That was Broadway Comedy Club for us in New York. That was a rough room. I used to work the door there for a couple of years, and it sucked. They'd give you stage time to let you go on, but like I remember a guy fucking spit on me during my set, and I'm like,
oh my God,
this is maybe a bit much.
Joey Cola told me that he was doing Pips in Brooklyn, and a guy showed him his gun.
Yeah,
showed him his gun, and he said, "You fucking suck. You fucking suck. You're not funny at all. You fucking suck. I'm gonna shoot you in your fucking head." And he's like, "Hey, buddy, what did I do?" You know, he's trying to like joke around with him. Joey Cola's like the sweetest, nicest guy ever.
A lot of pressure. Whoever's on next.
Yeah,
better fucking turn this around.
Yeah, Joey's a funny dude. Man.
No,
you ever see Joey Cola?
I haven't, but I know I'm aware of his reputation as being a killer.
He's a killer, dude.
Yeah,
especially like the 90s. Oh my God, Joey Cola was an animal. He was an animal. He was so fast.
That's so entitled.
At Pips.
Was
That's
he a
where
mob
Dice
guy,
started out.
Mob guy?
Oh yeah, or a killer, just a hitman, or a crazy person with a gun. Could be all the above. But there was a lot of. You're in Brooklyn. You're in Sheepshead Bay.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you think's happening there? You know, you're in Chinatown and here's some guy, you know, talking Chinese. You get hit in the net with a dart.
Dude, I had an incident once. I was leaving, terrible club, To Catch a Rising Star in Princeton. It's probably like 12 years ago or something, and. You know, one of the rare clubs that would headline me back then, and I'm coming back that night on the train on Amtrak, whatever, or New Jersey Transit rather, and I'm on the platform, and I'm just like, I got a bottle of whiskey with me. I'm going back tonight. I'll have a few drinks. I'll chill on the train, and I'm a little buzzed, and this dude just walks up to me. Something's like off about him, and he's like fucking with people on the platform, and he said to me, like, he's going to everyone like, how do you feel about immigration? And I'm like, what is wrong with this guy? So when he gets over to me, I'm like, I'll fuck with him back. I had that much alcohol in me, and he goes, where do you stand on immigration? I was like, they're ruining the damn country. And like, I shouldn't have said that. I was just trying to be silly. Like, obviously I don't believe that. But he goes, you're a bad fucking person. He goes, I should fucking hurt you. And I was like, what is, like, he's a creepy little dude. So I'm like, whatever. But I'm like, maybe he's got a weapon. I get on the train. I'm hiding from him. He's trying to find me. I'm like hiding because I don't want to deal with this guy.
How'd you get away from him?
So he keeps fucking with people as he's looking for me. I'm like hiding. I see him.
But how'd you get away from him initially after you said that?
I just kept walking away. And he wasn't like, he was kind of like still keeping his eye on me and trying to find me, but he wasn't like chasing me, you know?
Who's sizing you up?
Sizing me up. And
Yeah.
I'm on the train and I'm hiding because I'm like, I don't want to fuck. This guy's insane. I didn't realize how crazy he was. I thought it was like, and it was a rookie move by me. I'm a New Yorker. I know better than to do this shit. I'm on the train. I'm sitting down. I'm hiding. I'm texting my friend. And I'm like, this guy's fucking me on the train. He's like, oh, fuck, I'm sorry, whatever. I see him do it to another guy. How do you feel about immigration? And he just keeps fucking with the dude. And it's a big black dude. And he goes, East New York, motherfucker. And I'm like, this is like my guardian angel right here. Oh. He like gets in the guy's face. He's like, I'm going to fucking kill you. And then like some ticket boy tries to get in the middle. They have to stop the train. This dude was about to get fucking pounded. I got like saved by some weird...
Yeah, there's people out there in the world that you should not fuck with. And you find those in those prankster guys. Every now and then they run into the wrong dude. It's not a smart move. I get it. You're trying to get a lot of people to pay attention to you, and that will be effective, but you might get concussed.
You see old clips of Tom Green. I'm like, thank God he didn't get his ass kicked. I mean, this is like ballsy.
He was crazy. Tom Green was crazy.
He was innovative. I mean,
I credit him to being one of the inspirations for me starting this, for sure.
I love him.
Do you ever see his show?
Tom Green show?
Did you ever do the show, the in-house show?
No.
The in-house show is incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were... When did you start stand-up?
2005.
Okay, so this was only 2 years after you started.
Yeah.
Tom Green had an internet show in his house.
No, I remember the clips. I was obsessed with his MTV show.
It was amazing. It's in an Eminem song. He made a fucking Eminem song.
The one I remember all the time is Undercutter's Pizza, where he would just follow people. He'd follow a pizza delivery guy and bring all the toppings in a suitcase. And he'd be like, we're Undercutter's Pizza, we'll charge you less, to the guy he was delivering it to. And I'm like, and the guy fucking tried to kick his ass. It was so...
Undercutter's Pizza.
So stupid and funny. I think he was...
he's a genius.
He was pretty great.
He got really good at stand-up, too, by the way.
Yeah.
He really did.
He's doing
the Mothership soon.
This is it, yeah. The guy wanted to fucking kick his ass.
The guy gets so mad.
Oh, I remember when he smashed his testicle live on air because he got it removed from when he had cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I respect him a lot.
He's coming soon. He's going to be on the podcast soon, too.
Yeah, he's
great.
Underappreciated.
Yeah, I feel so. I feel like that. And I really like his stand-up.
He's a big name still, but
he is, but I don't think people...
like that.
Well, Freddie Got Fingered is a fucking great movie,
Insane.
Man. It's a great movie.
I was one of 3 people in the movie theater opening day when it came out. The other 2, my friends.
My friend,
empty movie theater.
It was an empty movie. It didn't pan out commercially, but my friend Eddie Bravo told me about it. He goes, dude, I know everybody says it sucks. Go see Freddie Got Fingered. I went, really?
It's insane.
He goes, it's so funny. He
jerks off a horse.
It's amazing.
Or an elephant, whatever.
No,
it's
amazing. It's so silly.
He's ahead of his time.
He was ahead of his time. Yeah, he sucks off a cow or something.
He's out of his mind. Yeah, it's one of It's one of the last movies I feel like that got destroyed by critics. It's when critics still had their power, and it was like a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever, and they were like, it's like back. Like think about critics.
I don't think that had
anymore.
Rotten Tomatoes back then.
But whatever it was like
Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel
being like, this sucks. And Ebert's a great reviewer. He doesn't always get comedies, but like if you read Ebert's old reviews, they're incredible. He's one of the best writers.
Did you ever read the script that he wrote?
No, I never did. Is it good or no?
He wrote some crazy movie. What was the movie that Roger Ebert wrote? It's like, it's so insane. You're like, what are you doing? What is this?
It sucked.
I mean, I'm not the one to judge. I'm not a movie critic, and I don't know how to interpret scripts. But maybe it could have been made amazing. But most people thought it was preposterous.
Well, his reviews, though, I mean, that was his talent, his reviews, because he would write shit. And look, if
you're a really good writer.
He would articulate things like, fuck, I didn't realize I felt that way. And that's what a good writer can do, you know?
Yeah, but it's also, he's a different human than you. Like an Adam Sandler movie. For me, I'm like, I can review an Adam Sandler movie. And I go, it's fun, it's silly, it's great. The Zohan, he fucks everyone, cuts hair, kicks everybody's ass. Yeah. It's really fun. Yeah. At the end of the movie, you're like, I had a good fucking time.
But you can like both. That's the
thing. And also,
he
did Uncut Gems, which is a complete polar opposite of that. What did you see? That movie makes my fucking hands sweat.
Yeah.
And I'm going, oh, Jesus, don't fucking do this, man. Don't fucking do this. When you watch that gambling junkie keep placing those bets and you feel the anxiety, you feel it.
I feel it. No, it was. That's one of the most stress-inducing movies I've ever seen.
Ever.
But man, he's great in it.
He's so good in that movie. That movie.
They're great
is so
directors.
good.
Those guys. They're really good.
Who
The
did it?
Safdie brothers.
Oh, okay.
They did like Good Time. You ever see that? They're fucking great.
What's Good Time?
It's with Robert Pattinson. It's like another crazy adrenaline rush type movie like that. It's really cool.
Did you see Sisu?
It was on TV the other day, and I was loving it, and I had to run out. It's that war movie, right?
It's fucking great.
Yeah, it was
It's
violent as shit.
fucking
I'm putting it on the list right
It's
now.
fucking great. It's so ridiculous, and it's like basically like John Wick in World War II.
I got to see this.
It's amazing, man.
A guy
Is it
gets
World War
sta- a
One
guy
or
got
World War
stabbed
II?
in the head, and then I
Pretty sure
had to
two.
run out.
It's fucking incredible. This dude is the shit.
Yeah, that was it, and I had to
Yeah.
fucking run out.
I'm telling you, this dude's the shit. He's amazing.
They stole his gold and he just wants it back.
Oh, he fucks everybody up, man. And it's
Something
the way
about
he does
revenge
it.
movies,
I
dude.
love him.
From
I
behind
love
John
him.
Wick, yeah.
Yeah, it's a fucking fun movie, man. It's a really fun movie.
Gotta check it
Doesn't
out.
he have like one line the whole time? Also?
Yeah.
Like, right at
You
the
can
end?
watch it. Like, it doesn't matter. It's like my favorite moments in John Wick are not of him talking. All due respect to Keanu Reeves. I love that dude. But my favorite moments in John Wick are him just fucking everybody up.
It's just incredible. It's like beautiful the way it's
Yeah.
choreographed. It's like beautiful violence.
Bro, John Wick 1, I don't care what anybody says. It's like one of the best movies ever in terms of like what it's trying to do. What is it trying to do? It's trying to excite you and get you fired up and get you engaged and wanting this guy to be successful and kill all these bad guys.
And you're on his side immediately.
100%. And he's doing things that you know can't possibly happen.
There's not a person who is okay with you murdering a dog.
Exactly.
You can't fucking.
Exactly.
I mean, maybe Michael Vick 10 years ago,
And
but other than that, no.
it's also redemption denied. So this guy has this redemption story. He's decided to settle down with this amazing woman. I'm not going to be a hitman for the Russian mob anymore, which is kind of problematic already because he's
Yeah.
probably killed a lot of nice people, but you have beautiful hair and you are Keanu Reeves. So I'm going to let it slide for now.
Yeah.
So, but this woman, obviously, they were really in love. And then, you know, when she dies, and then they steal his car and kill his dog.
You don't fuck with a man's
And he's
car or
like,
their dog.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're rooting for him every step of the way. And then the fucking guy, who was the guy who played the father? That was the head of the Russian mob.
He
That
just
guy's-
passed away, that guy. A great
Yeah,
actor.
God damn, he was incredible. He's so good in that movie, man. He's so
And Willem
fucking
Dafoe.
good. When he's explaining to his son what he did wrong,
Yeah.
you know?
Because you could tell he's kind of on, he's more like Wick. He's more on his side, but he's like, it's my fucking son.
Well, he knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, you're
Wick was-
fucked.
Yeah, and when he says to him, he goes, "We called him Baba Yaga." Yeah, here, play this.
The
This is one of my
boogeyman.
favorite scenes in any movie. When Ari, Bert, Tom, and I were having Sober October Fitness Challenge, I watched this on a loop. I watched this like 50 times in a row. Look at the fucking greatest scenes in any movie.
I love this.
The fucking ultimate boogeyman. Rich guy's son, piece of
He's
shit.
hateable. He has a hateable
mobster.
face, too.
Just admitted he killed some people in Atlantic City.
Yeah.
Can I keep it going? This is Barbie for men,
Yeah.
ladies. I just want you to understand.
It
That's
is.
what that is. You know how you love Barbie? I enjoyed Barbie too.
I don't like it.
I thought it was fun. I thought it was a silly movie. I enjoyed it. I went with my wife and my daughters.
Yeah.
We had a good time.
Yeah. I look, I understand. It was beautiful looking. I think they're,
That's Barbie for men.
yeah. It's not for me.
Well, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I did. I'm not faking enjoying it. I thought it was a fun, silly movie. What did you not like about it?
I just didn't think it was that funny. I just thought it was kind of like I'm gonna get trash for this, but I just thought it was. 'Cause I know everyone loves this fucking movie, but I just thought it was. I didn't laugh. I just didn't. Like,
You didn't laugh ever?
Not really. No.
I laughed a few times.
I thought
but
Ryan
I was
Gosling
looking
was
to
pretty
laugh.
funny in it.
I was looking to laugh. I went into it with a really good mood. You know, I was looking to laugh. I was looking to have a good
I
time.
was too. No, I never go in wanting to not like a movie. I love movies, man. I think Greta Gerwig's crazy talented. I just didn't really. You know what else I couldn't fucking stand is
What?
everyone's talking about this movie Saltburn. Do you see this shit?
No. What is that?
It's like Talented Mr. Ripley for retards, I guess. It's like if you fucking can't, if you don't like nuance and you need to see a dude's dick every 3 minutes.
What is it? What?
Saltburn.
What is this movie about? Have you heard of this,
It's
Jamie?
basically
I've
Talented
only
Mr.
heard of it. I haven't seen it.
it's just not a nuanced movie. It's like so over the top. Look, the actors are very good, and it looks beautiful. It's just I think the script was like
I've
absurd.
never heard of this until right now.
Oh, it's huge. It's a
Really?
huge movie. Yeah,
I'm so out of the loop, dude.
yeah. I didn't like it.
I'm out of the cultural loop. Do you think you want to get into films? Is that why you're so
I love
interested?
movies. Yeah, I'm working on. Norman and I wrote a movie with
great.
with Noah Garden-Schwartz and Esther Steinberg. It's like a drinking buddies movie. It's fun. It's really funny. So hopefully we do something with that. Yeah, I'm trying to develop a TV show right now. I like writing. I like writing plots and dialogue and stuff. And I worked on one for a while with Dana Gould. We worked on an animated show for so fucking long and we couldn't sell it. But but I loved it. I will make it someday. But yeah, I think this show I'm working on, I'm writing it with. You know Mike Lawrence, the comedian?
I know the name.
He's a fucking beast.
Maybe I do know him.
He was a roast battle champion back in the day.
Okay.
But he's a great stand-up too. But we're creating this show, and I think it's gonna be really cool. But yeah, I love movies. I like
Pull up Mike Lawrence.
I love stand-up the most, and that'll always be number one. But like I want to try other
You should.
avenues.
Yeah,
and
it's good to do, man.
I love movies.
Oh, I know that dude.
Yeah, he's great.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude,
He's very
the,
funny.
The
I've seen
lines
him.
he's written for this, I'm like, fuck, they're
I
beautiful.
I think everybody should like other stuff too. I don't think it's bad to like other stuff. You know,
I love
there's some-
sports. I love movies. I love.
Yeah.
I have so many interests, but I mean, like I told you, like Golden Age Hollywood. I love film noir. I love like old school movies and shit.
Wouldn't you love to be a fucking spider on the wall during like a James Cagney movie?
dude? Okay,
Imagine what that was like
Can I give you a
back
book
then?
recommendation?
Yeah.
It's called. I think it's called. Look up the title exactly. It's called Lunches with Orson. I think it's about Orson Welles. It's literally Orson Welles shit talking every actor and director from the 30s to like the 80s. It's one of the funniest. But he's incredibly funny
Oh, he was brilliant.
because he. I mean, yeah,
He
this is it.
underperformed.
It's brilliant. I mean,
He underperformed.
but
in
think
his
about
life.
making Citizen Kane.
I know, but
at
he
25.
underperformed. But that always drove me crazy. Like, why? Why did he go to sell wine after that?
He
Like,
was.
Why did
he was
become,
broke?
I understand that. I understand. I'm not criticizing him for selling wine. I would do it too. My criticism is like, you were the fucking man. You were War of Worlds. You know, you played that on the radio and freaked out half the country.
Yeah.
You were Citizen Kane. You know, he was going up
Touch
against
of Evil.
William Randolph Hearst. I mean, he was essentially making a film that was about William Randolph Hearst. And
Yeah.
William Randolph Hearst was very aware of it. So was
Powerful
everyone else.
motherfucker, too.
Scary powerful. So scary that marijuana is still a Schedule I drug today because of William Randolph Hearst. That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
William
know
Randolph
that.
Hearst with Hearst Publications. They started printing. They're the ones that came up with this whole idea along with Harry Anslinger that marijuana was a different drug because they were using hemp for everything. They were using hemp for clothes. Hemp makes a superior fabric. It makes superior paper. It's way better for paper. It's way more sustainable. You could repopulate. If you have land and you're growing hemp on it and you cut it all down, you grow it back in a year. If you have land where you're growing trees and you chop them down to make paper, you're fucked for 20, 30 years, man. You know,
Wow.
it's a different thing you're doing. And it's far superior. But for years, they had used paper because they used to have there was a machine that came out called the decorticator, and when the machine came out, it could effectively process hemp fiber with a machine because they
Wow.
used to use slaves. So when they used slaves, it wasn't as cost effective as cotton was. So then they started cotton picking. Eli Whitney comes out with the cotton gin. And then hemp gets kind of put on the back burner rather because it's not as easy to do. Like, you got to beat the fuck out of that stalk to break it down into fibers and weave those fibers. But if you do, it's way superior.
Wow.
So this invention comes out called the decorticator. Pull up a decorticator so you can see what it is. So it's this big steel wheel with these like rods poking out, these pokey points poking out, and they grind down the hemp fiber with this so that you can make superior paper. So
And it's a machine that does this.
Yes.
Wow.
So Popular Mechanics or Popular Science on the front cover says hemp, the new billion-dollar crop. So there's a competition with these people that have paper mills. So William Randolph Hearst not only has Hearst Publications, he also has paper mills. And he has huge forests that he's chopping down to make paper for his newspaper. So instead of like switching everything over to hemp, he decides to demonize hemp. So he creates a new name. They create a new drug called marijuana. And marijuana was the name they used to use for a wild Mexican tobacco. And so they attribute this marijuana name to cannabis, which they've always used because it's hemp. It's the same thing that they've always used.
But he
for
villainized it.
He villainized it, and then
Interesting.
came out with Reefer Madness and those crazy
Hilarious.
propaganda movies.
It makes you shoot up a school.
They started writing
Reefer.
stories in Hearst Publications
Yeah.
about blacks and Mexicans who were taking this marijuana and raping white women. So they put everybody into a fucking fever pitch, and then they outlawed it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is fucking nutty.
And it's 2024, and it's still Schedule 1.
That is crazy.
Crazy.
I did not know that was Hearst.
That's William Randolph Hearst. So that's the guy that Orson Welles was up against.
Incredible. I mean,
that wild?
Dude, I highly recommend it. It's like the amount of shit talking. I mean, everybody gets people. It's like basically a podcast, but in text. But like people. So Richard Burton will like walk up to a mid-interview and he's like, "Can't you see I'm talking to someone else?" Like he's like a psycho. But there's one part where like this guy Henry Jaglom like worships Orson Welles. Like he's my hero. He's a genius. So I guess he knew Peter Bogdanovich, and he goes, "How about like setting me up with him? I wrote a movie part that'd be killer for him." He's like, he's never going to do it, but if you want to meet him, he's staying at this hotel in New York. So, you know, he's like a fucking dude. He's like, every time he's at dinner, you know, he's got eating problems. So like, I'll have one bite of this. And then he goes back to his room and orders 6 ribeyes and fucking gorgeous. But this guy goes to meet him and he's like, literally knocking on his hotel room door to be in his movie. And there's a guy who's interviewing him in the book. They became buddies, but he knocks on his door and he goes, "Please be in my movie." And he goes, "I'll never do a director's first film. Fuck you, I'll never do it." And he goes, "You acted in your first film." And he was like, "No, I won't do it." And he goes, You love magic. Please, please do this. I know you're an amateur magician." And he goes, "Never." And then he pauses and he's like, "In this film, could I wear a cape?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "All right, I'll do it." That's all it took. He's a fucking weird dude.
That's wild.
But he, the amount of people he shit talks in the book where he's like, fuck Woody Allen. And he'll just go on like but it's like everything he says, like I love Woody Allen, but everything he says, I'm like, it's pretty fucking funny.
What was he saying about Woody Allen?
You know, that his type of self-deprecation is insincere and you can tell he loves himself. Ooh. He's like, I don't buy it. I think this guy loves himself. And like, he's like, anyone who's this self-deprecating, it's fucking bullshit. He loves himself. The way he acts about himself. He a lot of stuff like that. He'll shit on like,
ooh, I like it. Not only was he skeptical of Allen's approach to comedy, but he was vehemently averse to the hungry ego it served. "I hate Woody Allen physically. I dislike that kind of man," he said, adding, "Oh yes, I can hardly bear to talk to him. He has the Chaplin disease."
A lot of people hated Chaplin.
Don't say this about Chaplin.
well, a lot of people. I love Fatty Arbuckle. There's a book about Fatty Arbuckle who fucking hated Chaplin. I think they ended up all right, but they were like, he was like Team Buster Keaton.
I don't know if you want to get on Team Fatty Arbuckle.
Really? He
Don't
didn't
you know
do
what
it.
He didn't do it?
He didn't do it. That's
Really?
bullshit.
Is
Yeah,
it bullshit?
he was framed. Yeah.
What happened?
Great book called Frame Up. I don't know exactly who framed him.
Confident? How much of your
He was-
life
he
savings
was
would you bet on
exonerated.
this? Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, he was.
Yeah, but that's the fucked up thing is we're talking about as if he did it.
Oh, and this was 1930 what?
Yeah, and you know what the fucked up part is? He had to do like 4 trials to get properly exonerated. So it ate up his life, and he died like a year later from a heart attack. Oh my god! But no, he was, dude. I
And
mean,
his career was
he
over.
created the pie throw. Think about how fucking crazy that is. Fatty Arbuckle invented the pie throw in the face.
So what was wrong with Chaplin?
I think they
Is
thought
Chaplin
he was.
like Michael Jordan?
No, I
But
think
seriously,
no. I
if you
think
think about like you're that guy back then, you're the comedy guy, you're the fucking king of comedy.
I don't know. I think obviously a genius, but I think also like think of the circles. He rolled with like Einstein.
Right,
you
but
know?
that's what I'm saying. Remember that speech that he gave in that movie? What was it, The Dictator? What was that movie that he did?
I think I don't know
No,
his movies that well,
that
but they're playing it
speech-
every night at the Cellar. So
There's a
I know him
speech-
silently.
There's a speech that he gave that is relevant today. Like this speech about humanity. You know, do you remember that?
I don't.
It's brilliant
It's
because
been a while since I've watched this stuff. I mean, I was more into Buster Keaton personally.
well, Buster Keaton was amazing.
Yeah.
The stunts that guy did, holy
his fucking neck.
Shit, man, broke his everything. He broke everything, dude. That guy was doing wild shit. He was falling off buildings, going through awnings, like legitimately going through awnings.
It's insane.
See if you can find that Charlie Chaplin speech. I want to get to Buster Keaton, but there's a speech that he did. Do you know what I'm talking about, Jamie? Let me see what it looks like. Yeah, that's it. Let me hear this. So he's got the Hitler mustache.
Yeah.
He looks like Hitler.
They've added the Hans Zimmer Inception music to this.
I'm sorry.
It's
I
gonna
don't
make
want
it
to be
a little more dramatic.
That's not my business. I don't want to rule or conquer anyone.
Do you want me to keep the music?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, unless you can find one that doesn't have the
Yeah, I
music.
feel like this is gonna
Yeah,
make it different.
it definitely does.
Yeah,
make it
Fatty
different.
Arbuckle is definitely framed though, and he.
Here it is.
Oh, here it is.
Fatty, we got your back from beyond the grave. All I have to say is fuck Fatty Arbuckle.
All I have to say is not a lot of laughs per minute on that speech.
That's
you
a
know?
good point. I don't think that was a comedy.
No, it was, but it wasn't. But you know,
What was the movie?
The Greatest Dictator?
The Great Dictator? What was the movie about?
I don't know. I don't know.
But that was
offhand.
pretty fucking good.
It was good.
Applicable today. It gives you. It actually makes me sad sometimes.
Yeah, I mean about machines. Holy
but also,
shit.
it's like it was so obvious. They saw it, the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
So did Ted Kaczynski, by the way.
Yeah, he made a lot of good points when you take out the murder.
He did. You take out all the bombings. He was saying the technology was going to replace us. He's right.
That's the worst part when these monsters. You're like, man, but he obviously was a bright mind.
That was a satire? It says 1940 American anti-war political satire, black comedy. Black comedy. Written, directed, produced, scored by and starring Charlie Chaplin, following the tradition of many of his other films. Wow, he did everything, man.
Yeah.
Of course he was a dick. If you're doing all those things, you're Steve Jobs, but you're doing it in a movie. It's the same kind of animal, you know?
I don't know, man. I like Louis. You know?
Yeah, but he's different.
Yeah.
Louis different.
Louis does everything. He did everything on Louis.
I'm not saying that it's impossible to be like a cool person and also be all those things. It's just harder to do. You know, I get it. I feel like guys like that probably don't have Charlie Chaplin as friends either.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which I think is one of the critical things about our occupation is that we're constantly surrounded by people like us. Like we're all kind of very like-minded animals, and we have an appreciation for each other that is very different than most occupations. You know, I have like a reverence for like elite professional comedians. Like I'll do anything
Me
for
too.
you.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I feel like we're all in like a very sacred tribe of there's only like I always say there's probably 1,000 of us on planet Earth.
Yeah.
If we're really being kind and generous and giving people like a great amount of curve. The reality is it's probably about 250 that I would want to hang out with that I would say are legit.
It's fortunate that we get to be part of this fraternity of comics
We're
who are
so
like
lucky, dude.
who are just very cool and luckily most of the people that I've wanted to meet have always ended up being pretty cool.
That's nice.
And if they're not, look, there's exceptions.
The exceptions I think existed in the TV world.
Yeah.
Honestly, the exceptions that I encountered, and I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but there's some people that I like now that in the 2001 I wanted to smack.
Yeah.
You know, there was some people that were just like really rude and shitty because there was the culture of being rude and shitty that was almost encouraged. Like when Phil Hartman came over to News Radio from Saturday Night Live, he had this very bizarre kind of anticipation of hostility from other cast members because he was very highly paid. Obviously, I wasn't famous at all when I was on News Radio. I was a nobody. I had been on one show called Hardball that was on Fox that bombed. It aired like 6 episodes, and I was the star of the show. That show got canceled. I got a development deal with NBC, and all of a sudden, like, dude, I had never taken acting lessons, all right? They'd made me I had to get an acting coach. Like, I was all of a sudden sitting next to Phil Hartman, and I was 27.
And he's brilliant.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And I mean, like, I had never even thought about being an actor.
Yeah.
They just gave me money. And they said, do you want to act? I'm like, okay, what do I have to do? Like, to pretend? I had no experience acting at all. And I did that show. And then Phil Hartman had this distrust of all the other people in the cast. And he had like this like real like arm's length thing. And I was always like, dude, you're Phil Hartman. Like, what are you talking about, man? You're the man.
Why do you think that was?
Saturday Night Live. He told me.
Oh, they're trying to take your throats.
Yes, dude, they were cutthroat. They were cutthroat. With
pressure of that
weird
show
backstabby
weekly.
ways. Like they would get your assistant fired. They would do weird shit. You were too close to one of the PAs. Fuck him. Get him out of here. Like one of the other cast members would turn on one of the PAs that you had become friendly with.
I've heard it's tough.
They were screaming at each other in the hallway. Fuck you. Stealing each other's jokes. It was creepy. And so Phil and I became friends. And as we became friends, especially after the first season because the first season was like really long hours. They were trying to work out the show, and I got to become. We were hanging out 15, 16 hours a day. We're on the set all the time. And we get to become friends, and then he just sort of loosened up and explained like it's like a cutthroat environment over there.
What a bummer that's what that does to you, because I have obviously a great appreciation for Phil Hartman, and like I thought that was a great show, and I mean, shit, I watched Jingle All the Way on the holidays. I fucking love that movie. Arnold and Sinbad, and
he was
Phil
a great dude, man.
He's a great comic actor.
He was a funny dude too. He would do stand up he would do warm ups for the crowd, just fucking around. He would do like he had an amazing Bill Clinton impression. He had a bunch of, but he had like routine. He was like thinking about doing stand up, but he just had a terrible marriage.
Poor guy.
Terrible. And I was the one guy on the show that was like, get the fuck out. Like right now.
Yeah, you were like, be honest with her. Tell her what you did, and I'm sure she'll take it really well.
No, it wasn't even that.
No, I'm kidding.
It was the opposite. It was just get away.
I know, I'm fucking around.
She would insult him at parties and stuff publicly. Like it was gross. It was scary. It was like, there's sometimes that people are together and they fucking hate each other, but they for whatever reason do not leave each other.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. I don't understand it. But some people, they just get stuck in a pattern.
Sometimes they don't see quite how bad it is.
Right.
Even when your friends point it out, you don't really see it till you get some distance from that relationship. But
it's also you learn from your parents, and if you come from parents that beat the shit out of each other, or scream at each other, throw things at each other, you get accustomed to thinking that's how relationships work, how they function. It's real sketchy. So
bad parenting is so fucking. I was going to tell you about Fatty Arbuckle. His dad walked out.
So what did Fatty? I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt this part, but I need to know. Like we should clarify. Like what did Fatty do?
He was accused of raping and murdering a woman. He didn't do it.
Murdering.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like a bottle broke inside of her?
Yeah, that was the
crazy?
fake thing.
That was fake.
I forgot I read this like years ago, but it's what was it, Jamie?
So how did she get murdered?
It was a frame up. I don't know. I don't know who framed him, but someone framed him up.
What was the reason for?
I don't remember because I read this years ago. But but he is innocent and he was exonerated. But if we could find it, that'd be awesome.
I'm reading an article about it right now. It's hard to find the actual
answer.
But
he was a dude who his dad fucked him up because his dad walked out on the family, and like I think the mother was like mental, but he was supposed to be raised by his father, so his dad owned a hotel, and they would like take a train to the hotel. This is where your dad is. So his dad hears that he's fucking coming, and he sold the hotel and disappeared. So then he just shows up and is like a fat kid, like 13. He's like, what do I do? And they're like, we can give you a job here. So he started working at the hotel at like 13.
Oh my God.
And then he finds out he's good by joining the talent show. And they're like, this guy's got an incredible voice. And then he was being silly and funny. They're like, this guy's like kind of a genius. He starts becoming like an incredible touring performer. And of course the dad wants back in.
Oh God.
Of course. Classic. But it's like, yeah, I remember being like, his wife, who he was divorced from, was like, he's fucking innocent. That like they divorced on like not amazing terms, and she's like, he didn't do shit.
So what did they frame him for? Was he becoming too big of a star? Or
I don't.
I was trying to read through this. It's explaining the entire story in the Smithsonian article about it, and it's long.
Yeah, I'm sorry for bringing this up if I don't fully have a grasp on this, but
no, it's okay.
A brief.
That happens every day in my life. Okay.
There's a party.
Where should we start here?
Just right up here.
Okay. According to Arbuckle, Fishbach arranged everything from the rooms to the guests to the liquor, despite prohibition. And on Labor Day, September 5th, 1921, Arbuckle awoke to find that he had many uninvited guests. He was still walking around in his pajamas, bathrobe, and slippers when he saw Delmont and Rapp and expressed concern that their reputations might alert police to the gin party. In Los Angeles, Delmont was known as a madam and blackmailer. Rapp had made something of a name for herself as a model, clothing designer, aspiring actress, and party girl. Oh, just a regular L.A. under 30 woman. But the food and booze were flowing by then. The music was playing, and Arbuckle was soon no longer focused on his exhausting work schedule, the burns on his backside, or just who all the guests were. What happened in the ensuing hours would play out on the front pages of William Randolph Hearst. There you go again, that motherfucker. National chain of newspapers in lurid headlines before Arbuckle had a chance to tell his side of the story. Virginia Rapp was 25 years old when she arrived at the St. Francis Hospital in San Francisco for a Labor Day weekend party. Hotel, excuse me, did I say hospital? St. Francis Hotel in San Francisco for a Labor Day weekend party. Maud Delmont soon painted a sinister portrait of the happy-go-lucky, portly prince of silent film. This is what she told police. After Arbuckle and Robb had a few drinks together, he pulled her actress into an adjoining room saying, "I've waited for you 5 years, and now I've got you." After a half hour or so, Delmont heard Rapp screaming, so she knocked on and then kicked at the locked door. After a delay, Arbuckle came to the door in his pajamas, wearing Rapp's hat, cocked at an angle and smiling his foolish screen smile. Behind him, Rapp was sprawled on the bed, moaning. Arbuckle did it, the actress said, according to Delmont. Rapp was taken to another room. A doctor was summoned, and he attended to her. He stayed. This might take forever for me to read this whole thing.
This was it. This was it. She died. That's why I was like, leaving it there. She died.
She died September 9th of a ruptured bladder. So what actually happened, though?
I don't know.
Then it went to the newspapers, and then he turned himself in.
Right.
And that's where I was like, I think we're just getting way too long.
Right, but what was the actual story?
Charged with manslaughter. That's why I don't know.
So he's charged
We
with
have Roscoe
manslaughter.
Arbuckle in a hole here trying to get some. I think they were trying to blackmail him.
We have, okay, hold on a second. There's the matter of the telegrams that she sent to attorneys in both San Diego and Los Angeles. We have Roscoe Arbuckle in a hole here, chance to make some money out of him. Oh, babe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. They were trying to railroad him.
He was making $1 million a year in 21. That's a lot of cheddar.
What was that?
Yeah. So they were trying to
$1 million a year in 1921? What was that money? What's that today?
That's got to be like.
Let's guess. The doctor who treated Rapp at the hotel testified she had told him Arbuckle did not try to sexually assault her, but the prosecutor got the point dismissed as hearsay. Whoa.
There we go. Yeah.
Whoa.
I forgot the
So what
specifics.
happened to
It's been a
her?
while. I don't know.
Her bladder ruptured?
No marks of violence on the body. No signs the girl had been attacked in any way.
Oh, so she might have just had like
she had a chronic bladder condition, according to this.
Oh, so she might have just died.
Yeah.
Fatty Arbuckle was making $1 million. Before we go any further, let's find out what $1 million.
I'm guessing at least 20.
I'm going to guess more.
Maybe 25,
I say $50 million.
Really? Maybe, yeah.
$1 million in 1920, 21 in 2024 money?
You're probably right.
I say it's $50 million because inflation is stupid.
It says it's about $15.8 million.
That's it?
Damn.
We're
both off. So he was just only minor balling.
For a while,
dudes are balling way harder than him.
During the Depression, his money would have went down, and then it started going back up.
Oh, okay.
From the Depression?
Yeah, after the 30s, that $1 million he had in 1921 would have only been worth $750K.
Oh, wow.
1932, so 10 years later, if you just let it sit, I guess. Then it went up.
Yeah, he was a party animal, but he wasn't a rapist.
Or a murderer.
No.
So she just had a disease.
Yeah.
And she died of that disease, and they just had him for money.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dark shit. It's a book's called Frame Up. It's really good. It's hard to find.
He was acquitted the first trial, and then they tried to get him again. Jury deadlocked. Third trial, Arbuckle was allowed to call witnesses for the first time.
Wow.
So he got off, and he made a comeback, but he died like a year after it.
The Charlie Chaplin thing and that thing makes me say it's always been fucked.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost kind of always been fucked.
This is the best time for comedians, dude, because it's not as, at least with comics, it's like more, as you said, it's more fraternal. I mean, we're kind of all cool, and there's so much room now. There was like two of them back then, dude.
The people that are complaining about other comics now, it's like, listen, figure it out.
Figure out your own shit.
Figure it out. Stop complaining about other
Twitter's
comedians
not your journal. Chill the fuck out.
And neither is Instagram. Stop.
Yeah.
Stop being stupid. You just
make it funny if you're gonna do that shit.
Just be better than what you are. Figure it out, or don't, or stop doing it. Sell shoes.
Attell said that to me once. I was complaining years ago, and he goes, maybe he said to someone else actually. He goes, get funnier.
I like how you said it was at you, and then it was like, no.
I remember
I'm
with
not
someone
that
else, but I don't
stupid.
want to use his name because he's a great comic, so I don't want to put it on him. But he didn't mean it like you're not funny. He meant
Right.
it like, well, you better get funnier.
Yeah.
Because what else can you do?
There's nothing else.
That's all. That's in your control. Is try to be fucking funny.
And all the other things that are out of your control, the more attention that you spend on them, the less attention you will have towards the thing that you can control. It's that simple. It's like an allocation of resources issue. You can't allocate resources to things that are completely unproductive and in fact counterproductive. They fuck with you psychologically. You get up in the middle of the night, you go to pee, you think about it, you're like, fuck, and then you can't go back to sleep.
You grind your teeth. Now you have to get a fucking dental procedure.
Not good, man. Don't be involved in unnecessary conflict. It's just not good for you. It's not good for anybody. It's not good for that person. It's not good for you. It's not good for the people that you're going to encounter after the conflict. It's not good for the people they encounter after the conflict. There's a butterfly effect that happens with stuff like that. It's pointless.
And the business is going to keep changing. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Is like, this is not what it was 20 years ago. In 10 years, it's going to be different. Like, think about how big, I think about this all the time. Comedy Central was the fucking king.
Mm-hmm. They're useless now.
They're useless.
It's also what's happening now is like a very organic merging of like, for a lack of a better word, artists. Because we are artists, but we're art. It's like calling a comic an artist. It's almost like, for us, it's like, shut the fuck up.
It's not.
It is art, but it's like, it's also, don't get goofy with it.
We're not supposed to be the pretentious ones, and
Right.
it sounds pretentious. It's like,
It does sound pretentious.
We are looked down upon at the award shows.
Yeah.
Because they are like, we're artists.
I say we should look down upon the award shows. When I saw Joe Coy do that award show, I didn't get upset that Joe Coy his jokes didn't hit. I got upset that he was willing to do it. Joe Coy, you sell out arenas.
Yeah.
Don't do that terrible thing.
But you always want to be a part of that club.
Don't do it. It's,
I think
first
you
of all,
have to
it's your
go in-
handicap. You're doing it with 10 days notice. What kind of goofy?
That you shouldn't have done.
What kind of goofy ass fucking organizers hire top talent?
No one wants
with
to do
10
it.
days? Nobody wants to do it.
Remember
nor
when they
should
did
they.
to
And they
Kevin
shouldn't do
Hart,
it now.
where they were like,
Yeah.
you said
Gay
the word
jokes in the
gay.
90s.
And guess what? You fucking awarded Roman Polanski like Man of the Year 15 years ago, accused of rape. So, or not accused, he did it.
Will Smith slaps Chris Rock on stage, and then they give him a standing ovation.
Disgusting.
The whole thing's ridiculous. They're ridiculous people. The point is, just fucking shun award shows.
Anytime
Awards
someone
for
calls us
art-
artists, I think of a comic asking an audience member, are you taking a poop or a pee as they're walking to the bathroom? We're not artists.
But the problem is the word art has been hijacked by douchebags.
Yeah.
We are artists, but we're artists in the sense that we create things. Everybody who creates things is an artist, just like a chef is an artist. I bet chefs, probably the pretentious ones, will refer to themselves as artists. The fucking down-to-earth dudes. will
Those are
tell
my
you, "I'm
least
a
favorite
chef."
chefs. So the
Exactly,
ones,
of course.
the fucking fine dining chefs, you're like, all right, dude, give me something that will fill me up.
Just, there's a fine line where you can cross over into pretentious land.
I think the problem is we got into this to be funny, and some people lose sight of that and they start pandering. Like, I can tell when a comic stops fucking touring. I can tell when your act, you stop taking it through Missouri. You got to take it through every fucking state. You got to make this. I don't want to use the word marketable, but you got to make this palatable for the country. There's a reason. If I do a joke about New York, it's for everybody. If I do a joke about riding the subway, it's hitting in Kansas City because it has to. Otherwise, you were working for your small bubble. And when I see comics put out specials, I can be like, this dude only worked it out in L.A. or New York or whatever. And you need the road because the second you stop relating or remembering what got you into this for the right reason, you're doing it for the wrong reason.
You also have to remember when you were first starting out, the idea of being on the road, headlining a comedy club would be the craziest fucking dream you could ever imagine. I
Yeah.
don't have to go to my day job anymore. Now I get to fly to Cincinnati and go do stand-up comedy to packed crowds. 2 shows on Friday.
Half-packed.
Half-packed. Pretty good crowds.
Yeah. Go bananas.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a dream. It's the ultimate dream because the idea of being a professional seems so impossible to achieve.
It felt amazing, and I romanticized the road as I still do. Like, it was a different thing. It was like, thank God I can do this, to now I'm like, gotta hone it.
Well, that was the thing about Jenny. When I was first doing the road, one of the things that I would always ask, I was like, who's the biggest douchebag that you had to take?
I asked that too.
And it was always Jenny. He just hated it. He hated being on the road.
He was a douche to people?
Yeah, unfortunately. It's just he was very uncomfortable. Obviously.
He wanted to be a bigger movie star, right?
He wanted to be a movie star.
He was a great actor.
Well, he was really good in The Mask. And
Great
movie.
movie.
But what he was a great stand-up. But
Yeah.
great stand-ups weren't appreciated the way they are now. If Jenny was alive today, he'd be doing arenas. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
that's what would be going on. He would be like one of the biggest stand-up comics alive. But during his time, no one did anything other than comedy clubs. There's a few guys like Sam Kinison used to do like Greatwood Center for the Performing Arts. Rodney did that. Bill Cosby did that. But for the most part, stand-up comics did comedy clubs, and that's it, including Jenny. And he just felt like a failure when he was on the road headlining these clubs.
What
and
a sad thing.
It's crazy. It's crazy. They all wanted the golden egg, and the golden egg was what Roseanne got or what Tim Allen got. It was a sitcom.
That generation doesn't get it. I did Letterman's show on Netflix, and he was like baffled by me putting out YouTube specials. And not in a way that he was so kind. I mean, he was such a nice guy, but I remember he kept asking me, like, I don't get how you make money off this. And I said, well, I make the money off touring, but he's like, well, you got to understand, when I did this shit, it was all about the sitcom. That was the money.
Yeah.
You know, so it's, as we said, the industry's changing. Like, a lot of really funny comics were passed over by these industry streamers and then did their own thing. And then at a certain point, they'll find you. The point is to not get bitter. And you look at a guy like Shane Gillis, and did he get bitter? No, he stayed fucking funny.
He got funnier.
Of course.
He even got better when he got canceled. It's just, there's a different world now where there's no gatekeepers anymore. The gatekeepers, they still exist if you want to participate. If you want to do the Comedy Central thing, they still exist.
Yeah.
You know, HBO still makes specials. You can do it that way if you choose to. But the gatekeepers of real mass media are now non-existent. It's all just YouTube. So then you have to be careful with whatever YouTube's terms of services are. Because some of them get real squirrely, and you can get banned.
The goalpost is moving in.
It's moving.
They're changing the rules. Like, if you make a Nazi joke now, they're like, did you say the word Nazi? You're like, I was condemning Nazis.
Yeah.
That was satirical. But you said the word Nazi, and some fucking algorithm that can't detect sarcasm is like, time out.
Yep.
Not good.
Yeah, not good. It's clumsy, but it's also, they're fucking... You're dealing with an enormous number of human beings. You're managing at scale that's impossible to really even wrap our stupid little heads around. The amount of humans that are like but which really leads us back to that guy's text message getting intercepted. Like, are they just doing that with everything? Because it appears they are. If they're doing that in a Snapchat message group, which is supposed to be encrypted, and they find the word, I'm going to blow up this plane, terrorist, whatever, ISIS, Taliban, whatever it is, they see those words. If those words, like, if they get flagged, that means nothing is private. Also, you have to recognize I want everybody to be safe. Okay, right. But those are human beings, just like you. This is like you having the kind of power that it means to have to access everyone's text messages. That's nuts. That's a crazy power. And if you're the guy, I mean, I don't care how many checks and balances there are. There's got to be somebody at the end of that stream that could just read and see all your dick pics. There's somebody at the end of that stream.
Take good angles. That's a secret.
There's somebody
Fluff it up.
Sees every time you swipe right. There's somebody that sees
Drake.
it all. Yeah, they see everything. And that is probably inevitable. With the bottleneck of technology being interconnectivity, right? And the other problem with that is money. Because if money is just ones and zeros, and it gets to the point where when you get to quantum computing where any sort of encryption is really preposterous, and then people have commercial grade quantum computing in their house, and you could kind of like, there's no code that can't be cracked, there's no Bitcoin that can't be stolen, and then what happens? Like, what happens then? Like, how do you have money?
How can you trust anything?
How do you trust anything?
Yeah.
How do we trust anything now when these I'm in so many ads for products that I'm definitely not selling.
That's
I'm
hilarious.
in so many of them, man. People send them to me all the
Deep
time.
fakes and shit?
Total deep fakes.
But how can you trust not just machines, but any... I remember reading about Leonard Cohen. His manager stole his $5 million retirement fund.
Yeah.
That's why he was touring in his 70s.
Happens.
Yeah.
Happens all the time.
Machines, people, I mean, like, with money and your information, you're putting a lot of trust in either.
Yeah, you're putting a lot of trust in a lot of different things. But also, like... I'm not a communist, and I'm not a socialist, and I'm definitely pro-capitalist. But I envision a future where all of these things, where I think these mechanisms that we have used to achieve power and influence, and what Will Storr said, we talked about yesterday, the status game, all of these things will eventually lead us to some point in the future where, I mean, we could get to a point where any idea of competition that we're having right now, what human beings enjoy right now, all goes away. And we all become a part of some network that changes what it means to be a human being. Like human beings stop being human. I think we're not that far away from that. And if you look at what we are today versus what Fatty Arbuckle was, imagine you being friends with Fatty Arbuckle and back in the day, and William Randolph Hearst, but also having a YouTube channel. You're like, look, William Randolph Hearst is a piece of shit. Like, this is what he did about marijuana. This is what he did about this. This is what he did to Fatty Arbuckle. This is why they did it to Fatty. And this is what actually happened. This is what a woman had a chronic bladder infection. And, you know, it could be like a big thing. You know, It could be like something that everybody talks about, and it gets the ruling overturned. But back then, you had no chance. As things move on, it'll be more of that.
Well, there's pluses and minuses to more people having voices, right? I mean,
a lot of minuses.
A lot of minuses.
There's a lot of crazy people out there. There's a lot of legitimately schizophrenic, insane people, aggressive people, sad people, like abused people, people that came from terrible childhoods, people that came from, you know, every stretch of the world, and they're all they have to do is learn English, and they're just interfacing with you, and they got the worst roll of dice that's available on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And now, you know, they've killed 3 people by the time they're 15. You know, like, and then now they're online.
Yeah.
And that's real too.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You get into this for acceptance, right? You get into stand up because you want to, maybe, I don't know, maybe you're in your mind, you're like, this wasn't able to be said in my household, so now I'll in my mind, I'm telling the truth on stage. I'm being funny. I'm making strangers laugh. And you're doing this for acceptance. There was rejection before this. Now it's like the amount of people who could flood your fucking timeline when you make a misstep.
Right.
It can be overwhelming. I mean, I think of that guy John Ronson all the time, right? So you've been publicly shamed guy. I mean, people know, you should know what you do when you try to fucking destroy a person, but it is exciting. A lot of people, what they use social media for is to complain and then to try to bury a person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's fucking weird.
It's just a dumb thing to do. And I think the best thing to do if you're like a public person like yourself is just like never engage in that, and also don't read the comments.
Yeah.
That's my advice. My advice is always never engage, don't read the comments. If you want to post something, you feel something about something, you want to say something about something, that's fine. But don't be upset about people's response to it. And
Exactly. It's part of the game. We put ourselves out there.
But that also doesn't mean you have to fucking, while they're throwing fastballs, you have to run across the pitcher and get hit in the head. You don't have to actually go out on the field. Like, it is part of the game.
Yeah.
But you don't have to do that part. That part is not necessary. It's also not good. It's not smart. It's not a good allocation of resources. It's not good psychologically.
Right.
It's not good for the fans either, because if you actually, what if they're just having a bad day, man, and they're fucking 18, they lash out at Sam, you know, or they lash out at Normand, or they lash out at Ari. They're not really bad people, but they're writing something and it's permanent. It's out there forever. And they said some rude shit and they're trying to get a response. And then you come back with the most scathing response. And then you show pictures of their mom and them and their fat belly, and you shit all over them online.
Yeah, this is going far, though.
Right.
Yeah.
But we've all known people who have done
Sure.
that, right? And it's just not wise. It's not good. I've done it before. I've experienced that thing of like, fuck you, no, fuck you, you're a fucking loser.
We've
No
all done
benefit.
it. Yeah.
No benefit.
Last message Bob Saget ever sent me, I engaged with a fucking psycho, and he goes, "Hey, it's Uncle Bob here. You're too good a guy to be doing this." And
Beautiful.
I was like, "R.I.P. Bob, sweet guy."
Nice. He is a very sweet guy. He's a hard one. He was a hard one.
I didn't know him well. We were just becoming friends when he passed away. So
I
was
became friends
bummed.
with him at the store.
Yeah.
He's such a sweet guy. He was always a nice guy. Always a nice guy. Always like real, like genuinely warm. Like, you come around, everybody like.
We need that.
Yeah.
People who bring positive energy to work are fucking so important.
I've never met anybody who didn't like Saget.
Yeah.
He was always nice. You know, there's like a few guys where I don't know anybody who doesn't like him.
There's something.
Bobby Lee's one of those.
Yeah.
You don't like Bobby Lee, I don't like you.
Bobby is.
I don't like you if you don't like Bobby Lee.
Is it safe to say he's maybe the best podcast guest ever?
He's amazing.
It's insane the energy he brings. He's so funny.
I've known Bobby for 30 years.
Damn, I've known him long, but I love him.
Close to it. It's probably close to 30 years.
I brought a friend of mine when he did our podcast. He's an Asian guy I used to live with, and he like worships Bobby, and Bobby just fucked with him the whole day. And it was, my friend Dory, it was so satisfying for him. He's like, Bobby's like, stop talking to me, fuck you. And he was like, that was like the best day of my life.
He's such a good guy too because he's like so honest about all of his like weirdness, his flaws, and like how he thinks about himself, and so vulnerable.
Yeah,
he's
I love
also
him.
very funny, man. And he's getting ready to do a special finally.
I actually, I think it was from when he was on your podcast. I texted him. I was like, "You better put out a fucking special, dude." And he goes, "Yeah, why?" And I said, "You know why? Because you're fucking hilarious, and because you deserve it. You deserve to release something and to move on and to suffer a little bit."
He's a much better comic than people know in terms of like the amount of tickets he sells. Bobby Lee should be doing arenas, and he just did an arena with Bert and Tom. He just did the MGM in Vegas.
It's because he's not releasing it. So now that
that's
he's
all
releasing
it is. Yeah, it's like his level's very high. There's a few of those guys out there. Their level's very, very high. They just don't have a lot of stuff out there.
He's told me he's scared to eat the shit to build a new hour. And let me tell you, like, I'm thinking when I burn this next one, I am dreading the shit out of this. Like, I hate starting from scratch.
Yeah, man. Just gotta embrace it.
Gotta
Embrace
embrace
the suck.
it.
It's fun. Get in there.
Get in there. It's like jumping in a cold ass pool.
Yeah.
I fucking hate it, but I gotta jump in the pool.
Yeah, do it every day. yeah. Just embrace the suck. That's all it is. It's all. There's a few of those guys out there they just need a little gentle nudge to get into the water, and then Bobby Lee will have a new hour in no time.
Because he'll have to.
And it'll be better than his hour before because it'll be more representative of how he feels about things right now.
And his life is interesting.
Yes, he's fascinating.
And he's too self-loathing. I'm sorry, Bobby. You got to love yourself a little more because he's loved, that guy.
He is loved, but he needs friends around him. And the problem with a lot of us is that we can become islands. I always describe comedians as islands or tribe members.
Yeah.
And there's a few of those islands out there that like only have like one opening act that they take with them. They only do theaters and they travel around. And every now and then they get to be around comics like us. Like, hey, so let's look at the club. It's weird. There's a few of those guys. I don't want to name names. But there's a few of those guys. I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's a healthy existence. And
That's literally why I'm still calling it the Cellar, because I just want to see the people, and I love Liz, the manager, and I love
I can't wait to show you the
Esty
club. I can't wait to
I can't wait to do it.
Because we set it up as best we could to facilitate all that, to make it so that it's like the best environment for comics to hang, the best environment for comics to work. Everything's set up. The staff is magnificent.
I've heard
Everybody's
nothing
cool as fuck.
but great stuff.
It's great, man. It's amazing. But it's also entirely set up for the comics. Entirely. There's not one decision that ever gets made that's to the detriment of the show or the comics' feelings.
Most comedy clubs that were made by a comic are often like a comic who quit and has got some bitterness, and you're not that guy. So you made it the right way is what I've heard.
Well, the best aspects of the store were beautiful. And there was so much to the store that the mothership will never be able to have because the store had this history, this insane history and this legacy to it of Kinnison and Pryor and Hicks started there. Hicks was a doorman there. There was so many great comics that came out of that place. And so it's now, Mitzi's store. There's a reason why I have her on my wall. The reason why we named the bar Mitzi's. It's like, so we took her philosophy and we just threw a Spotify budget at it.
I love it.
Let's go ham. Let's do something good for the community of comedy and create what Louis calls it the Alamo.
I love it.
Yeah, I said, yeah, it's like that's the thought behind it. It's like, let's do it. Like, if I can do this and like I can do this and I don't feel any pressure, it doesn't bother me at all. I mean, I feel pressure like with like staff stuff and shit. This is happening. There's something wrong with the AC unit. There's a little bit of that every now and then, but it's not bad. But it's not financial pressure, which is the most intolerable pressure when you don't think you can pay your bills and you're worried, especially if you're a father. You're like, shit. So if that pressure is alleviated, then you can do something that you really want to do. And I'm like, I want to really do it like fucking Disneyland for comics. I want to set it up so that it's the best environment ever for people to be able to develop and create. And even people starting out, like the doormen, the door people, the door women, they're all auditioned by EGIT. So EGIT, he auditions them. He sees their act. So they're all comics.
He cares, yeah.
Yeah, and they get to see Shane Gillis go up. They get to see Howie Mandel stop by and Jim Gaffigan stop by and Dave Attell do sets. And the shows that I'm doing on like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, it's fucking Ron White's out there, Brian Simpson. It's crazy. Tony Hinchcliffe. I mean, these are murderous shows. They're murderous shows.
It's awesome.
And so these people get to see how we're writing and how we're coming up with new shit and how we change things up. And it's like this, you get an education that we got at the store. We all got that at the store from watching, you know, the guys who were there before us. You know, the big names when I was 27 and I first came to the store and I'd see Damon Wayans go up and Eddie Griffin go up.
Beast, right?
Beast.
Was Wayans in his prime
Wayans was
killer,
a
right?
beast. Underappreciated, man. The Last Stand, Damon Wayans' HBO special.
Funny.
It's
That's when he went to the crowd, right?
It's when he threw the mic down. He said he was
Yeah.
quitting. That guy is a real professional in
Yeah.
the sense of that he films every one of his shows. He has since the 90s. He sets up his own video camera on a tripod and he films every one of his shows. Workout shows, any show. And he is not scared of silence. That
love
fucking
that.
I used to watch him go up when I was a kid. First of all, I was a fan of his from In Living Color.
Homie the Clown.
I was a fan of his stand-up. I'd
Yeah.
seen him on the Robert Townsend thing. Remember Robert Townsend had
Of
those
course.
stand-up shows?
Hilarious guy.
So I was a fan of his already, and then I got to see him work out, like at the store in front of like fucking 30, 50 people, you know, small-ass OR crowds, and he just didn't give a fuck. He just would find a bit. He would find where it is. He'd like search around for it. Didn't worry at all about the dead spots. Didn't worry at all. Just he's like, that's my workout room.
When a comic has earned that, it's a beautiful thing.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing. But it's also the store was low pressure back then. Like the way you were describing the cellar, where you're going on after murderers, it's very
It's
difficult
tough.
to
Well,
work
even
on
the
new
young
stuff.
comics there are so good. There's young comics there. Like a young comic named Maddie Weiner. She's so funny. There's Daniel Simonson is so funny. All these comics, they're like
Hungry.
They're just murderers. And so then you're following them with your new shit, and you're like, all right.
Yeah.
So I was on a flight coming back here, and they're like, what are you doing? They can sniff the new on you. So I do most of my work on what I like to do is like an hour of good jokes, and then I'm like, all right, guys, now I'm doing 10 minutes of brand new shit. And
Oh, you do it at the end?
I'll preface it.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
I like to just say, here's my, because sometimes and then I get the confidence to just work it in.
Yeah.
If it's killing,
You're already killing.
yeah. So I get the and then I'll mold it in once I get that confidence that it's
Right.
hitting. But yeah, man, the cellar is tough. I remember starting there, like the guys who were really murdering, you know, obviously when Rock would drop in, or like Louis, or Colin Quinn and David Tell were kind of the godfathers of the cellar. They were, you know, always had new shit. They were always interesting.
Colin Quinn's another guy, criminally underappreciated.
He really is, and I don't know why, because the shit is, I think it's so universal, the history stuff and the New York story. I mean, I love Colin's stuff.
When he was at the club, all the door guys were like, dude, it was like an education. He's so good.
And he's a great guy.
He's a great guy.
And he's honest as hell.
Yeah, well, that's the same with the Tell, like sweetheart guys, because they don't have any excess energy that's being like distracted into nonsense and bullshit. And that's a big factor.
I learned so much from Mattel because I used to open for him, and he's like just the best guy and like supportive. And I remember a lot of diners leaving him, like, you know, we'd leave a diner at like 4 a.m. and he orders an iced coffee large, and I'm like, Dave, what are you doing? Do you never sleep? Like, he really is. I'm like, you are this fucking dude.
He functions on coffee and cigarettes. And when he was doing that show, Insomniac.
Incredible show.
Oh my God, that show was a great show. And he was like,
It was
out.
like rugged Bourdain.
By the way, Skanks for the Memories is still one of my all-time favorite.
I think it's number one.
CDs.
I think it's the best album ever.
It's a great album, man. It's up there with some of the all-time greats. And he recorded that at the Comedy Works in Denver, which is one of the all-time
Legendary.
great rooms. Legendary room.
Geraldo did his first one there, I think.
Did I tell you? I didn't tell you.
Didn't you do a special there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2014, I did a Comedy Central special there.
Nice.
I had the most bizarre moment. I went to see Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory with my kids.
The new one?
Yeah, it's really good. I take a leak. I'm leaving the bathroom, and I run into this dude. And for 2 seconds, I think it's Greg Giraldo. He looks exactly like Greg Giraldo. He's just taller. He's like 6'1", 6'2", but he's Greg Giraldo. And I go, what's up? The guy goes, what's up to me? Because it was me. You know, he's like, oh, it's Joe Rogan. And I'm like, hey. And I go, oh my God, Greg's dead. This is not Greg. So it had to like.
Wow. So you reckon what a mind fuck that is.
A mind fuck, dude. Because in my mind, for a half a second, I thought I saw my friend.
That's brutal.
for half a second. My friend has been dead for.
And he recognizes you. That's
Yes.
crazy.
It was crazy. It was crazy because
His son, you know, his son is doing stand-up. Greg Giraldo Jr.
Well, I didn't know that.
And he's funny.
Really? Is he in New York?
He's a New York guy, and he was a waiter at the Cellar for like a summer job.
Oh, Shane told me about this guy.
So he asked me to do a show, and I was like, I'll do your show. And he put himself on before me, and I watched him. I was like, thank God you're fucking funny.
Yeah, right.
Thank God, but he is, and
That's
he looks like him, and he's got the mannerisms.
Well, Giraldo was like revered by us, but he's not so funny. I mean, not so known that it puts pressure. He was very funny, obviously, but not so known that he puts pressure on his son to other people.
I don't know.
Do you know what I mean? To like the regular world, to us it is.
He wasn't like mainstream as he should have been.
Like Chris Rock's kid.
Right.
If Chris Rock's kid does stand up, like holy shit, right?
Yeah.
But Giraldo and I did sitcoms on the same lot.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I was doing, I think it was News Radio. It might have been hard. I think it was News Radio. When I was doing News Radio, I was right next door to him. So we would hang out together. Like we were both guys from New York. We both knew each other from Boston comedy. We both knew each other from the clubs in New York. And, you know, we were like, dude, can't believe we're here. Like, this is crazy. He had his own show. He had a show. I forget,
lawyer one,
yeah,
right?
a lawyer show. Because he was a lawyer originally.
Yeah.
Like, that was the thing back then. Like, you would sell whatever you were. I'm really into tools. Like the fucking, they'd make a sitcom around you.
Yeah.
And that's like, that was their thing that they would do, you know?
Damn.
Well, Domestic Goddess, Roseanne, bam, make a
Yeah.
show about you. You were basically, when you were on stage back then, you were auditioning for a sitcom about yourself. And people got giant deals, man. They got crazy deals.
Oh, we used to hear about the Just for Last Montreal Festival. Like, did you get a holding deal? I'm like, I got an agent.
Yeah, those
Back in the day,
deals
it was
were
like $1 million
done.
deal.
Not that much, but you
But
get
close.
hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
I didn't do another show after News Radio for like 2 years, and I made more money than I did when I was on News Radio.
Why?
I was just getting development deals.
Wow.
Development deals were crazy money. They were
That's
trying
fucking
to
crazy.
Yeah, because after News Radio, like it was like proven that I can act in a sitcom.
Yeah.
But could I be the star of a sitcom? So I had a bunch of development deals to star in a sitcom. And I got to experience that world, which is a very bizarre world. But I didn't like it. I didn't like the dealing with all the meetings and all the things. So when Fear Factor came along, I was like, hold on. No actors, no writers at all. Like, what do I have to
On the
do?
show.
Like, and also, this is an opportunity for material because this is going to get canceled. And I'm going to have a giant bit about this fucking stupid show where they sick dogs on people and made them eat dicks. And the show got canceled. And then it goes on forever. It goes on for 6 years and it's 148 episodes. It was so nuts.
Wow.
But I specifically did it because I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do the fucking the grind of what it means.
I don't know
to,
how actors do it. I mean, just the waiting around, the waiting for your phone to ring. Like,
well, it's better than working in a coal mine.
Of course,
You know,
but
so
I
that's
mean,
why they do
I
it.
just mean psychologically. Of course, it's a great if you can make a living at it. That's incredible.
Also, you're dealing with people that are psychologically damaged already, most likely, which is
True.
why they need exorbitant amounts of attention, which is why they want to be the star in this new Laura Croft movie. Like, this is a normal thing, like for psychos. Like, you got ignored by your dad, and now
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're in this fucking crazy movie. And I'll
Yeah.
show you, Pop.
and guess what? It ain't gonna fucking fill the void.
It never
You
does.
think it will, but it
You got to fill that void on your own.
exactly.
But I do think that it's possible for someone, because I definitely think that I came into comedy with like a neediness. Like I was just like trying to like show that I was worthy of something. And then eventually you get confident and then you realize like, well, it's not like this can't be turned in a different direction. And then my obsession could now be in getting better at this art and getting better at this thing that I love, this thing that I enjoy. That's like a really good exchange between audience members and comic. It's a really good exchange.
Yeah.
I particularly like it, like as a fan. Like I really love watching comedy still to this day.
Yeah.
All these years of doing it. So I know it's a good experience.
do you still watch specials?
Yeah, I'll do occasionally. Like if I'm home and I have time, I just don't have any time. My time is like really kind of strictly allocated. You know, and when I need to shut my brain off, I don't watch specials. I watch nonsense. I would either watch like professional pool matches or watch videos on muscle cars. That's what I watch.
That's cool.
Stupid shit.
Yeah,
but I
no,
do it
I get
on purpose. I do it on purpose.
I was watching Reacher last night. I'm like, I need shit like this in my life. I need a dude who just beats dudes
Yeah,
up.
fucking, you can't lose.
Yeah.
He can't lose. He's gonna fuck you
I
up.
love that guy.
Yeah. Well, he's a real Reacher too. If you read the book, like that's what Reacher
That's what
was
it
supposed. It wasn't
Tom
Tom
Cruise.
Tom Cruise thing was ridiculous.
Yeah, but you got to take the A-list guy in that. I get it. It's
You
like we're
have
talking
to.
Charlize. You're taking the A-lister.
You
but,
have to.
But he's supposed to be a giant.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. The guy who plays Reacher now, who's that guy?
Alan Richson. He's
That
awesome.
guy's Reacher.
He's jacked.
Perfect guy for that.
Fucking enormous.
Perfect guy, and you believe him when he's like spouting all smart shit.
I don't know who's still talking shit to every episode. Someone's talking shit. I'm like, have you looked at him?
But that's reality, dude.
Yeah.
I've seen people talk shit to some of the most scary fucking human beings
He's a
that have
big
ever
dude.
existed. He's your fucking. That's a understatement.
And he's likable. He's a likable guy on the
That guy's
show.
gigantic. Look at the size of him. He's like 6'5" too.
He's huge.
He's huge. That's what Jack Reacher was in the novels.
Yeah. And
So
then
that-
Tom Cruise is
Tom
like, I want to be
Cruise came along,
Reacher.
he's fucking 5'8" or
Yeah.
whatever he is.
Tom, you're Napoleon. You're not fucking Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
But he's a bad. Tom Cruise is. I got to say that the first Reacher movie is pretty cool with Tom Cruise.
He's good in it. It's just like it's not the same as the book. If you can just
Yeah.
get past that and this guy's just an assassin, like the Gray Man, the Gray Man series. The
Which
Gray
one's the
Man.
Gray Man?
The Gray Man, was it Ryan Gosling? Did I fuck that up? I get it right. I
Which
always
one's
fuck up
Gray
the
Man?
Ryans. They made a movie for Netflix. But the book, these Mark Greaney books are wild.
They're good?
They're wild books. Yeah, that's one of my favorite kind of books for like complete escapism.
Oh, yeah.
It's about a CIA assassin, and he's
love
the
that
best.
shit.
They call him the Gray Man. This is the movie. The movie is
Oh, Chris Evans. I heard of this.
yeah. The movie's okay. They fucking Hollywooded it up, but the books are incredible, and the audio books are really good. And it's but that guy was like 170 pounds. He's just a killer. He's not fucking everybody up like a bar fight. Like no, it's a different kind of guy. This is a guy who knows how to be an assassin, but it's a realistic, especially if you read the book, realistic depiction as far as you can take it of a guy who always wins.
Yeah.
But it's
Those are fun though. Those
Yeah.
like escapists, like a Michael Connolly or something. Just like cool, badass.
we're trapped in this guy's world. This guy's trying to make it through fucking Eastern Bloc countries with a cache of weapons, and it's just,
It's fun. Those are page turners. Yeah.
they're wild, and a lot of it has to deal with stories that are like actually connected to covert operations that happen overseas.
I
Because
don't know how these
there really
writers-
are people that are assassins for the CIA that they have to send to these countries.
You ever in the bookstore though, and you see some of these authors, and they have like 45 books, and you're like,
know.
how the fuck did you do that?
I know.
Think about how hard it is to write one book.
I think Mark Greaney has. I think he's got 6 or 7 Gray Man books.
It's crazy.
Yeah. How many Gray Man books are there?
I was
There
in the
might
bookstore.
be-
There's a
might be
guy, Harlan
9.
Coben. I swear to God, this guy's got like 45 books in Barnes and Noble.
How about Stephen King?
It's in. How is he
That
still doing it?
motherfucker's been
He must
cranking
have
them
help, right?
out. Yeah, it's called cocaine and alcohol. That's what he had.
But he's got
during
a
all the
factory
great-
though, doesn't he? I mean, he must
Yeah,
have people.
Chinese
that
kids. No, he in the
Stephen
beginning.
King and iPhones. They're fucking banging. Them
I
out.
hate to encourage alcoholism and drug abuse, but that's when he did his best work.
Yeah.
If you go and read The Shining, he was blackout drunk.
Yeah.
Mark Greaney, book 13.
That's crazy.
The Chaos Agent. This is a new book that just came out. Dude, they're
I'm
good
gonna- I'm gonna
books,
pick
man.
these up. Yeah, I'm gonna
They're
try
great
it.
in audio too. The audio book is really good, but if you like to read, they're really good. They're just
Yeah.
like for like take me away. This is like a modern
A good
day James
vacation
Bond
book.
type dude. Yeah, it's fucking
Yeah.
nonsense.
Or a flight. You're on a flight.
I don't want to read anything about climate change. I don't want to freak out about the economy.
I-
I don't want
I
to read
wanna-
about the World
I wanna
Economic Forum
disappear.
or the Rockefellers or I don't want to hear about it. Military
Yeah.
industrial complex.
No.
Stop.
You need an escape.
Stop. What's really going on in Antarctica? I don't want to know. I don't have time.
We're gonna be dead soon anyway. Let's just enjoy the ride.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, realistically, if this is all true, if you're not living in a simulation. But I'm not convinced anymore.
I don't know.
I'm not convinced. If I was living in a simulation and I was living in a simulation that was created just 100 years from now, I don't think I'm capable of discerning. I can barely tell a deep fake now. Somebody sends me a deep fake. There's one deep fake that's been overwhelming my Instagram feed, and I do not understand how Instagram can't stop this. But it's a deep fake with Warren Buffett talking about investing in Bitcoin.
Oh my God. That's like a dangerous one too.
Let me show
huh?
you it. Let me show you because there's so many of them. There's so many of them. It's fucking insane. There's so many of them that I every time I go to Instagram, I see them. See that all one that says the giveaway with the girl's face?
Yeah.
That's all a deep fake.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And how does the information? How does this not get somehow or another flagged? Because if you just say the word Nazi, you get flagged off of YouTube, right?
I mean, I don't know, TikTok, YouTube. They're clamping down for sure.
Like what you were just saying earlier.
Yeah.
So how do they not flag this down? I'm gonna send it to you
probably because
now, Jamie.
it's a more obvious flag if there's a trigger word as opposed to just a fake video.
These accounts appear to be operating in a coordinated network as they mass upload the same crypto videos under obscure hashtags. See the one that I sent you, Jamie, because this one in particular, this one just overwhelms my feed. I see it constantly. And the one that I just sent you, it's like, I just don't understand how you can't stop that.
This looks almost like that one in the picture I just showed.
But it's a different image on the first image when you click on it.
Yeah, I know.
I keep seeing this thing is like, you know, you just keep seeing the same image over and over again, and you know that's it. This Bitcoin thing. So give me some volume on this so I can hear it.
So this is fake.
Yeah, 100%. Go. So can you refresh it?
This one was only upload 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, listen, they're constant, man.
Well, that's why I can't take care of them. Is because they just keep uploading.
It's about $12,000. I promised to give away my fortune, and I'm doing it. Do not miss the opportunity that will change your life.
So it's a Bitcoin current.
Warren Buffett, can you tell us about your spontaneous decisions lately?
Yes, of course. I am launching a Bitcoin giveaway. Take part. If you want to change your future, go to the website, howedge.com, enter promo code GIFT, and enjoy your prize of 0.3.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's like, I don't know how many accounts that are uploading that same thing.
So
over
easy to dupe
and
people
over
like
and
that.
over and over. Yeah. There's a certain percentage of this country that has an IQ of 85 and under. Right? What did we say it was? Was it 16%?
Yeah, it's standard deviation or whatever.
16% that have no chance. They have no chance. It's Bushwick Bill versus Mike Tyson. There's no chance. The world is too cruel. It's too difficult to navigate. They're not going to make it. They're going to drown. So with those people, they might have a job, or they might have social service money. They might have like some way that they can. I'm going to invest in Bitcoin, and I'm going to make my way out of this mess. And this guy's a moron. He can't help himself. He's got a 9-watt brain, and it's never going to change. It's never going to get stronger. Genetically, he's fucked. Supposed to be a ditch digger, and then they get him. And so they get $50 from that guy, and $100 from this guy, and $1,000 from that guy, and $5,000 from this moron.
How do they get away with it, though? Isn't there a way to track this?
I think they just do it from other countries, and they do it with so many different accounts, and they do it to a separate website. It's another video.
Stuff on it. It was uploaded to TikTok. No, it's the same exact video, same exact audio.
Look at this. But it says Warren Buffett has decided to whiten his reputation by just giving money away at the end of his life. May sound fun, but don't lose the fucking opportunity. Oh, look at that. So that's like they're tricking you to getting mad at him for being rich, and it's a different website. So there's probably thousands of these websites, and they probably all the money goes into the same account. And
Holy shit.
They're probably extracting who knows how much money from how many morons.
It's also, I remember hearing this, not how recently this was, but a couple years ago, that as the rest of the world has been coming online and getting access to broadband internet and faster internet that we've had for like the last 15, 20 years, all the scams that we've been having happen to us are now happening en masse to them, like the Nigerian prince scam, if you will. That's like the most famous one, someone reaching out. Now they're using deepfakes to do that, but it's happening to the people that just got the internet.
They'll get people for a while.
Oh, yeah, forever.
Yeah.
They're getting us today.
Yeah.
People are always getting got by these fucking stupid things. There's always something that comes along, whether it's fucking the crypto guys from the Bahamas, FTC. I mean, how many people did they get? They got like very intelligent
So many.
people.
And then you look at people who are just catfishing. I'm like, you're just doing it for the love of the game.
Catfishing is still
That's
just
a fucking weird one.
It's a sport.
It's a sport.
Yeah, it's like catch and release fishing. you don't get anything out of it.
You're just like,
you just
love
win.
this. You just love
win.
to dupe someone.
Yeah.
You love to dupe some sad kid from Syracuse.
Or some fucking horny athlete.
Wow, yeah. What's his
Yeah.
name? Fucking, that was a great
Which one?
Netflix thing. Mante Teo, do you see that shit?
Oh, I heard about that one. How'd they get him?
Just like a sweet kid, too. It was some woman who was like, wouldn't meet him. But he's like a college athlete. He's too busy anyway. And then, you got to meet the person, though.
I think something happens when people connect with people online where you develop this like very bizarre attraction to them because you don't really know them yet in person.
Sure.
And you're communicating back and forth, and you're both putting forth your best face. And if you're a young athlete who's like a football player, and this lady's saying all the right things, untold. The girlfriend
like
didn't
out of
exist.
touch. Like she,
Poor
like you're,
guy.
like she's, yeah. He didn't know. I mean, he's like a sweet kid too. You see, and by the way, like there's a Netflix thing on him, and you're like, he comes out looking great, and the guy who catfished him, you're like, this is a psychopath. No
For sure.
remorse.
Right. That's a terrible person. The idea is that you're allowed to do that to a person you don't even know because that person's famous. Like you're allowed to destroy their life and do something horrible to them just because they're famous. That's crazy. But also, you also have to deal with like, why couldn't he see that coming? Why couldn't he recognize? And then you have to take into
He's a
account.
kid.
Yeah, and he's a football player. Okay. You know, you're colliding heads with people all the time.
Yeah.
Dude, all the time. All the time. You know?
Yeah, it's not healthy. Football is probably the most dangerous sport there is. I mean, when you look at like the blackouts and the CTE, like what offensive linemen have to deal with, like I think it's probably the most vicious sport we have.
That explains Shane Gillis. I do. I'm not kidding. I think that explained Kinnison.
Did he play football?
No, he got hit in the head by a car.
That's right.
Yeah. So did Roseanne.
There was a comedian on Kill Tony recently that he was funny. He's new. He's a young guy from Austin, but he was telling a story recently over a pandemic. He fell off of a balcony and landed on his head, broke his face. All his teeth are fake. And it's like I was like listening to that. I was like, oh, this is going to be another guy. He's probably going to be a hilarious comedian, but life probably changed because of a head injury.
Well, it's not guaranteed you're going to be funny.
No.
I'm not recommending you get hit
I'm
by
not
a
saying-
car.
no, he didn't do it on
Yeah,
purpose.
this isn't
It just
Spider-Man. You got to fucking.
It happened. Is what I'm saying.
You're trying to nail it. You're like, let me just fucking hit my head proper.
No, that's not. If that's how I said it, that's not how I meant it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're either gonna be you're either gonna be mentally challenged or you're gonna be fucking a pretty solid open micer.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I think I attribute some of my success to brain damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably something.
Do you
there.
take a lot of hits?
Yeah, for sure. But it's enough that I'm cognizant, I'm aware, but I also have like a level of don't give a fuck that's probably not healthy.
It might be healthy.
but it needs to be like managed all the time with strenuous exercise and like voluntary difficult things like cold plunge and sauna. Like I need to do stuff. I need to like.
You need to be active.
I need to.
You're a doer.
I need to force this brain into like violent activities on a regular basis to fucking keep it in check. But I think there's a certain amount of brain damage that's not bad. Just a touch of autism, touch of brain damage. You
I
get
think
shit
you
done.
made comics healthier.
No, that's good.
I think you did. You made me want to be healthier.
That's good.
When I was here last time and I was like, yeah, I got to take care of myself. Holy shit. Like you were so nice about that I was like, yeah, I should watch this a little bit.
You got to think of your body as your vehicle.
Yeah.
And if you have like a Nissan GTR, you could take a GTR and you could put a fucking big ass turbo in it and make 900 horsepower. Like, why wouldn't you do that? Wouldn't it be better if it works better? It's
why? Because
faster.
I'm at a strip mall in
goes quicker?
Indianapolis. That's why.
Yeah, but still, you want energy. And
No, you're right.
The energy of your mind is directly connected to the energy of your body. And we want to pretend that it's not because there was like a time of intellectual snobbery where taking care of your body was thought as vain and stupid. It's a moron's approach.
No, you made people healthier, I think. And in a way where you're like, no, this is smart. We need
dude, I'm pushing 60. I'm 56 years old.
You don't look it.
But that's possible. I just I'm not doing anything crazy that other people can't do too. You could do it. You just have to be on top of it, and you have to not let your body degrade. Because once your body degrades, building your body up is very, 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 very hard. But maintaining your body is not as hard.
Yeah.
You just have to be like really dedicated to it, the same way you're dedicated to brushing your teeth, same way you're dedicated to eating food. Don't you eat food every day?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's because you have to, right? To stay alive. You also have to exercise. You should exercise a minimum 5 days a week, I think.
I think that's smart. I mean, look, when we were on the road, we did a tour bus last year a few times, and like we'd be out 14 days or whatever at a time. Every day we would wake up in a new city. We'd hit a rec center.
Beautiful.
We'd play basketball.
Nice.
We'd do whatever. We'd steam. We'd shower. We'd get breakfast.
Better.
Good way to start the day.
Great way to
and
start
we
the
drink
day.
at night, but guess what? We
Yeah.
sweat it the fuck out.
Yeah. Take some electrolytes, get some
Yeah.
liquid IV, pound some vitamins and
great.
glutathione. Yeah, you can mitigate it. And you can also like give your body more of a chance to be robust while you're traveling and avoid sickness and avoid fatigue and all the shit that fucks with bad shows. when you have that feeling backstage, you feel like shit, and then you got to go on stage.
I hate
That's
it.
a terrible feeling.
2 shows. I mean, back in the day, 3 shows. Remember the 3 show nights? Oh my God.
The 3 show nights were so squirrely for me because I'm a marijuana proponent, and I would often forget. Did I bring this up already? This is the 3rd show. Is this the 2nd show?
Sober
What show
is
is
fucking
this?
hard, but if you're high,
and then when you lock in, like when you lock in and you're doing stand up, you're just in it, right? You're in those bits. But then if you're freeballing, which often you're likely to do if you're doing 3 shows, you want to make it interesting. So you mix up the order. And you're like, oh my God, I don't know where I'm going with this.
well, you find new bits.
Yes.
And also, I would do start with coffee, end with booze. Like, ride the caffeine high. Exactly.
Yeah.
If I'm doing something long, I want to feel both highs, and I want to feel good.
That's
I want to
good
enjoy
move.
myself.
That's why I'm terrified of Adderall. I'm terrified of any stimulants. Stimulants scare the shit out of me.
They work.
Yeah.
I haven't taken. I used to take it all the time, and holy shit, I might have to when I have to start writing a new fucking hour.
I'd like them. Are they good for creativity?
I love it because
Really?
I block out I just focus. Like I already have like voices in my head, so like when
What kind of voices?
Just like joke idea, like so when I'm writing, I can't. It's too much, and I can't write. But if I pop an Adderall, I can like focus on. I'll read an article. I'll be like, what's funny about this? That'll like warm me up. Listen to my set. I'm gonna struggle to write a new fucking hour.
What's the dose?
I don't remember. It's I got to get new ones actually. All my shit's
Do you get a
old.
prescription?
I do. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
You don't want to get it from the cartel.
I don't want that shit.
I know people who do. I know people who get street drugs. They take like street Molly. Like, what are you doing, man?
I need to get back. I haven't had it in a while because I've been kind of honing this hour. But when I need a new hour, fuck, I'm just dreading it. Starting at 0, dude.
Yeah, but you always do it.
You always do it, but it's always
wonderful. It's a wonderful, terrifying feeling because you have to be a rookie all over again. Like people know you. Well, they love you. They're fans, and they come to see you, and you're a rookie.
It's crazy to suck again. I'm like, man, and it's also because you're coming off the high of murdering because your last hour is like you at your peak. So they're like, this is as good as I get.
Yep.
And then it's gone, and you're like, I'm shit.
Yep.
I'm fucking shit.
That's the game we play, my friend.
But I love it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So you're going to film your thing in March.
Yeah.
Right? And then it'll come out around May?
Hopefully. We'll see. We'll
okay.
see what
You'll
see
come
what
back.
they say.
We'll promote it then.
I would love that.
All
Thank
right.
you, Joe.
100%.
Always great talking
You're
to you,
awesome,
man.
dude. Thank you very
too,
much.
Man.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, man.
Social media, website.
Yeah, I'm doing a new thing called punchup.live/Sam Morril, my name, and that's like a mailing list that I've been doing. I've been putting like
Spell
new
it out
shit.
for people so they don't fuck it up.
punchup.live/SAMMORRIL, and it's like a place where I just put new shit that's like that YouTube will flag. So like I'll put like a more offensive joke there. Sometimes I'll do whatever, but it's like a fun place. And in exchange, just give me your email so I can blast when I come to your city.
Beautiful.
But,
Beautiful.
Yeah,
that's a good move. That's very smart. That's very
fun.
smart. All right, and then all the tour dates are up there.
Yeah, I'm in Irvine. I don't know when this comes out. Irvine next week. We added shows.
Salt Lake City Wise Guys, another awesome club.
I'll probably add a late Thursday there too. But
Improv in Irvine, awesome fucking club.
We added a 3:30 there. That was all
I've
they
never
could
been
give
to
me.
Bricktown in Oklahoma. Is that a good spot?
It's great.
Yeah,
I love it.
This
yeah,
this is a really good network of solid clubs.
I only do
country.
really good rooms at this.
Yeah.
Thank God I'm at a place right now where I can only kind of choose the good ones. But yeah, then Wilbur's going to be Wilbur's fucking.
Wilbur's
epic.
awesome. Wilbur's like 3 comedy clubs like in front of each other because it's so shallow but it's stacked. That's a great room. All right, Sam, appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, bye everybody.